After the divorce, I made my tenant, the young lady, into a superstar. The three-line celebrity wife, dissatisfied with Summer Junan's poverty, attached herself to a wealthy man and divorced him. She only got a large flat that she had bought before marriage. Wanting someone to share the utility bills, she rented it out to a beautiful young tenant. One night, the beautiful tenant deliberately created trouble, making Summer Junan suspect that she had ulterior motives, and he distanced himself from her. One day, due to a singing competition, the tenant had to ask him to introduce her to a literary giant for help. Unexpectedly, when the identity of the mysterious big shot was revealed, everyone was stunned. The literary giant, wasn't it said that there was a powerful person behind Summer Junan? Turns out all the so-called powerful people are him. The beautiful tenant, he wasn't some kept man. It turns out all my songs were written by him. The ex-wife, who was from the third tier, this is impossible. If Summer Junan had this talent, why didn't he use it on me before? Chapter 1, Divorce Agreement. This is the divorce agreement. Please sign it. In a simple and bright coffee shop in Hua City, at a quiet corner by the window, a handsome young man and a beautiful woman were sitting across from each other with serious expressions. The young, handsome man wore a simple white shirt, but his face was cold and indifferent. The woman, sitting across from him, was dressed in a grey and white off-shoulder fitted dress, highlighting her curvaceous figure. Her long black wavy hair cascaded over her shoulders, giving her a seductive aura. However, at this moment, the man no longer felt anything towards her appearance. They had purposely chosen this time to meet at the coffee shop, as it was the least crowded on this particular weekday afternoon. Due to the woman's busy schedule, the divorce procedure had been delayed for 3 months. As soon as she sat down, the woman didn't say anything else and immediately spoke up, asking him to sign the divorce agreement. "Is there nothing else you want to say besides making me sign this?" the man asked, still disappointed. The woman replied impatiently, "What else is there to say? The house in the western suburbs belongs to you, as compensation. After all, you were the one who initiated the divorce, Summer Junan. You don't want to keep pestering me, do you? You're overthinking it." The man swiftly picked up the pen on the table and signed his name. The woman, seeing him sign, put on her sunglasses and prepared to leave. She didn't want to stay for a moment longer. Just as she was about to stand up, her phone rang. Upon seeing the caller ID, she immediately answered, putting on a warm smile. "Yao Yao, is everything done?" A man's urgent voice came from the other end of the line. "Don't worry, it's all taken care of," Zhang Yao Yao replied happily, walking towards the door with the divorce agreement in hand. Outside, a Cadillac was parked. Seeing her come out, the person inside rolled down the window. It was Liu Dalong, a pudgy middle-aged man, the wealthy patron Zhang Yao Yao had recently attached herself to. He smiled greasily at her, and Zhang Yao Yao beamed with delight as she got into the car. Soon, Summer Junan also walked out. Liu Dalong couldn't resist mocking him. "No matter how handsome you are, if you have no skills, you can't keep a woman. Trash like you is better off with her. Goodbye." Summer Junan's face darkened as he turned to walk toward another side of the street. "Har! This little kept man dares to talk to me like that." Liu Dalong was furious and tried to get out of the car to teach him a lesson. "Brother Liu, don't waste time on him. We have more important things to do." Zhang Yao Yao quickly stopped him, not wanting to waste any more time. The two quickly drove away. The reason Liu Dalong had helped her was that he had secured a spot for her in the final round of the national singing competition, Huaxia's strongest voice. Today, she needed to go there in person to register. Zhang Yao Yao was a third-tier celebrity, and she had long dreamed of making it big. It wasn't easy for her to hook up with a wealthy patron, and she had been thinking about how to divorce her husband for a while. She and Summer Junan had met at a large music exchange event just before graduation. As a highly talented student from a prestigious university's music department, Summer Junan had caught the eye of Zhang Yao Yao, a girl from a mediocre family and a third-rate university. She had pursued him relentlessly. Summer Junan, unable to resist the beauty, had quickly married her after 3 months of acquaintance. After marriage, Summer Junan didn't work but used his music expertise to help Zhang Yao Yao write songs and enter the entertainment industry to fulfill her dream. Unfortunately, the entertainment industry was filled with talented people, and despite his best efforts, Summer Junan could only manage to help her create songs of moderate quality. Yet, Zhang Yaoyao still gained some fame with her seductive voice and alluring looks, but it was only a modest level of success. Less than 2 years into their marriage, Zhang Yaoyao felt that Summer Junan's value had been exhausted and could no longer help her advance further. She often caused trouble at home to distance herself from him, and after hooking up with Liu Dalong, she deliberately set up evidence of an affair to force Summer Junan into filing for divorce. The house in the western suburbs was actually purchased by Summer Junan before their marriage, but after they married, the title was changed to Zhang Yaoyao's name. After the marriage, Zhang Yaoyao took control of the family finances, but in the divorce, even though she was at fault, all she did was return the house that originally belonged to Summer Junan, without giving him a penny more. Zhang Yaoyao believed that all of Summer Junan's sacrifices were deserved. After all, she was beautiful, and no one could stop her from rising to fame. She had once drained Summer Junan's parents' savings to organize her solo concert. The Summer family, which was only a middle-class family, couldn't withstand such a financial blow, and both parents, overwhelmed by stress, tragically died in a car accident. Summer Junan took a taxi back to their house in the western suburbs. That's right. From the moment he initiated the divorce, Summer Junan had packed up and left Zhang Yaoyao's small villa as quickly as possible. He didn't want to stay with that dirty woman for another second. Alone, Summer Junan lay on the modern luxury sofa in the 290 square meter apartment and drank a beer. I didn't expect it. On Earth, I was looked down upon, but on this blue star, I'm still this useless. When he moved in, he had accidentally bumped his head. Over the following days, many unfamiliar fragments of memories flashed through his mind, and it wasn't until later that he realized he was slowly recovering his memories. He was actually a time traveler, and the world he was in now was called Blue Star, while he originally came from a place called Earth. As a 996 corporate slave, he had been deceived by a tech fanatic into participating in a time travel experiment. By accident, he was sent to Blue Star. As a baby, he lost his memory of Earth. It wasn't until the divorce, when he moved into the long unused apartment, that his memories fully returned, and the classic cultures of Earth flooded into his mind. It's not too late. So what if it's been 3 years since graduation? I'm only 23. He had been an outstanding student, even skipping grades, and graduated early. In his past life, when he did the experiment, he was already 40 years old, and life had seemed hopeless, which is why he had taken such a risky path. Now that he was back to his youthful days, how could he not be excited? Earth's civilization is far superior to Blue Star's. If I replicate just a part of it, wouldn't it easily surpass Blue Star's civilization? And who's worried about making money? It must be said that Summer Junan was indeed short of money. Having never worked on Blue Star, he had no income. Previously, Zhang Yaoyao had given him a fixed allowance of 2,000 every month. This apartment had been bought with his parents' money before they passed away, so despite living frugally, he was still struggling to make ends meet. The house didn't have a mortgage, but he still had to pay for utilities and property fees. Summer Junan had been trying to rent out the apartment to share the utility costs, but the location was too remote. People in big cities usually chose places that were convenient for commuting. While the rent was cheaper than in the city center, no one was willing to move in, so he hadn't found a suitable tenant yet. I still need to make some money in the short term. The property management has been pushing me for weeks. I can't afford to have the water and electricity cut off. It's not the best time, but wait. The National Poetry Contest. Summer Junan suddenly remembered seeing an advertisement for a poetry competition online. This was an event hosted by a national website in Huaxia, aiming to discover poetry talent from all industries across the country. The prize money was very tempting. First prize, 100,000 renminbi. Second prize, 50,000 renminbi. Third prize, 10,000 renminbi. This is it. You can use a pseudonym to participate. Even if I don't win first place, using Earth's timeless classics, third place should be no problem. I just need the money. With the plan set, he opened the Huaxia website, registered an account, and began to think about what kind of poem he should submit for the competition. Chapter 2, Luo Yuqing. Manager Juan, I'll say it again, no matter the outcome, I'll stick it out until the end, and I won't accept any hidden rules. In front of the Huanrui Entertainment Building, in the center of Huacheng, a girl dragging a suitcase spoke firmly to her manager. The girl was petite, around 162 centimeters tall, with a perfect hourglass figure, a swan-like neck, and fair skin. Her small, oval face had a high nose bridge, and her eyes, clear as a lake, seemed to hold the entire starry sky, making anyone who looked into them feel enchanted. Her long black hair cascaded down her back in loose waves, radiating a pure yet captivating beauty. Though she wore a simple white t-shirt and denim shorts, she stood out in the crowd. 21-year-old Luo Yuqing was originally a model on a certain e-commerce platform. A singing enthusiast, she signed up for an audition when Huanrui opened recruitment for trainees 6 months ago. Due to her striking looks, she was selected. At first, Luo Yuqing was happy, but her good fortune didn't last long. Her beauty triggered jealousy from others, and while the company originally planned to leverage her looks for attention, she was soon embroiled in malicious rumors that she had risen through hidden rules. This greatly affected her reputation online. As a result, the company's higher-ups, to maintain an appearance of fairness, decided to have her release albums with just her voice and no photos, hoping to quell discontent among other artists. After a few original songs failed to gain traction, the company gave up on promoting her and assigned her a bottom-tier assistant manager. Initially, Luo Yuqing planned to let her contract run out and then leave, but things took a turn when she was spotted by a wealthy benefactor at the company's annual meeting. This benefactor was Liu Dalong, a man known as the Beauty Sniper. Despite his ugly appearance and wealth of over $1 billion, Liu Dalong had a penchant for collecting beautiful women. With extensive connections in the entertainment industry, even Huanrui dared not offend him. After hearing the rumors about Luo Yuqing, he encouraged her to embrace the very hidden rules she had once rejected. Luo Yuqing, however, was determined to not bow to these unspoken rules. She refused Liu Dalong's advances, and he turned his attention to Zhang Yaoyao, who was also a Huanrui artist. While Zhang Yaoyao was a third-tier star, Luo Yuqing's beauty far surpassed hers. That was why Liu Dalong had initially considered her before settling on Zhang Yaoyao. Though Liu Dalong publicly paired up with Zhang Yaoyao, he privately still had his sights on Luo Yuqing. Huanrui, seeing that Luo Yuqing was too headstrong, issued an ultimatum: either she brought the company some benefits, or she would have to bear the consequences of offending a major benefactor. Essentially, they threatened to blacklist her and make her pay exorbitant penalty fees. To further pressure her, the company had signed her up for China's Strongest Voice, under the guise of giving her an opportunity. Yuqing, the other party, is powerful and wealthy. They are putting pressure on the company. If you don't make it to the top 3 in China's Strongest Voice, the company will drop you, and you'll face huge penalty fees. Can't you just give in? Her manager Zhao Huan pleaded. The top 3 in China's Strongest Voice require exceptional original songs to make it, Luo Yuqing replied. You know as well as I do that with your current abilities, there is no way you'll make it to the top 3. This is clearly just to make things harder for you, Zhao Huan added. Zhao Huan was only a few years older than Luo Yuqing, and after being assigned to manage her, things had gotten much worse for her. She saw how determined Luo Yuqing was and was almost driven to despair. Zhao Huan wasn't trying to encourage Luo Yuqing to accept Liu Dalong's advances, but rather because her own future was tied to Luo Yuqing's success. If Luo Yuqing was blacklisted, Zhao Huan would also lose her job. If only she weren't so unattractive, she would have volunteered to take on the problem herself. In their time working together, the two had gotten along well, but with this crisis, their views began to differ. Zhao Huan was a single mother struggling financially, with a child to support and a mortgage to pay. Naturally, she was hoping for her artist to succeed. However, the entertainment industry was all about looks. The unattractive manager had to handle underperforming artists. Zhao Huan herself was short, dark, and overweight, with puffy eyes and a face covered in acne, and no amount of makeup could hide it. She had originally been responsible for managing other low-profile artists, earning a small, steady salary, and trying to avoid any trouble. But now, with the crisis surrounding Luo Yuqing, she was deeply troubled. If you're blacklisted, I'll lose my salary for the past 6 months, Zhao Huan thought, as she became more anxious. Don't worry, Huan Jie. No matter how it ends, I won't let you take the fall for me. I'll take care of all the debts myself, and if the company deducts any of your salary, I'll make sure to cover it, Luo Yuqing said firmly. As for the original songs, I'll do my best to create them. Seeing her determination, Zhao Huan stopped trying to convince her and instead asked about her living situation. Yuqing, since you're so determined, have you found a place to live yet? The company had kicked Luo Yuqing out of the dormitory to put more pressure on her, and she had to find her own place. I found one. I'm moving there now, Luo Yuqing replied. Good. Once you're settled, we'll talk again, Zhao Wan said, not pressing her further on the details of her new place, since she couldn't afford to help. She assumed Luo Yuqing had found somewhere in a less affluent area. Luo Yuqing said her goodbyes, put on her mask, and dragged her suitcase out of the Huanrui Entertainment building. She hailed a taxi and headed toward the western suburbs. Driver, take me to 103, Xingfu Buyuan in the western suburbs. She had seen an apartment listed online for just 1,000 yuan a month, and though she didn't have much money left, Luo Yuqing urgently needed a place to stay. Though the location was far from the city center, it was peaceful, and she could leave after a month when China's strongest voice finished. She had already contacted the realtor and paid the rent for the month. However, there was a small misunderstanding. She had assumed the landlord was an elderly woman, as the contact name on the rental site was Rong Mamar. In reality, this apartment belonged to Summer Junan. When he listed the property, he had humorously remembered a scene from a drama where his favorite character, Rong Mamar, tore apart the protagonist. So when the realtor contacted him, he was delighted at the prospect of renting the place, even for just a month, since 1,000 yuan was still money. He quickly sent the door code to the renter. Luo Yuqing's WeChat profile picture was a landscape painting, and her display name was Jiayu. Summer Junan assumed she was either a middle-aged man struggling in life or a young man preparing for an exam. By 7 p.m., the sky darkened, and small raindrops began to fall. The weather was unpredictable in the summer, with clear skies one moment and thunderstorming the next. Luo Yuqing got out of the taxi in front of Xingfu Buyuan and quickly walked toward building number 1. As the rain grew heavier, she took out her phone from her shorts pocket and entered the code the landlord had provided to open the password-locked door. Chapter 3: The Misunderstanding of the Tenant. After registering on Huaxianet, Xia Junan entered the competition channel for the poetry conference event. Following the procedure, he registered a username and uploaded a work he had carefully considered, Du Fu's Gazing at Mount Tai, a poem from the great poet of Earth's civilization. In his previous life on Earth, Xia Junan had loved climbing mountains, and the majestic Mount Tai was his favorite. He would spend rare vacations climbing famous mountains. After uploading the poem, Xia Junan closed his computer and went to the kitchen to prepare some food. As he was about to close the window, he heard the sound of his password-protected door being pushed open. Outside, it was pouring rain, and the living room lights were off. The suddenly opened door felt strange and ominous. Alarm bells went off in Xia Junan's head. Clearly, there was a thief. The thief's skills are too high these days to think they can crack the door's password. He grabbed a kitchen knife from the counter and stealthily moved toward the door. In the darkness, he saw the figure of someone in white clothing, which immediately made him certain that this person was the intruder. Without saying a word, he swung the knife at them. Upon entering the room, Luo Yuqing first dragged her suitcase aside and prepared to turn on the lights. To her surprise, someone with a knife rushed toward her. Mistaking him for a thief, Luo Yuqing, who had some dance training, reacted swiftly and dodged the attack. Having graduated from a dance academy, she was not unfamiliar with using her body to defend herself. Even though she appeared delicate, she had enough strength to defend against an ordinary attack. Furthermore, her experiences in the entertainment industry had given her a certain level of street smarts and awareness of sudden situations. The two engaged in a brief standoff, with Xia Junan's knife ripping through her white t-shirt. Frustrated and embarrassed, Luo Yuqing kicked the knife out of his hand. However, given the obvious physical disparity between them, she was soon restrained by Xia Junan, who pinned her to the ground, tied her hands and feet with a phone charging cable, and demanded to know her identity. "Who are you? Who are you?" they both asked at the same time. "I saw you the moment you entered. What is a woman doing here, trying to break in?" Xia Junan took the offensive first. "You thief! Trying to turn the tables. You think I'll just let you get away with this? Whatever you want to do, do it." Luo Yuqing responded, though her voice remained sweet, making her angry words seem almost gentle. "A thief? I'm the owner of this house. I'm calling the police now." "Owner? Don't lie, the owner of this house is supposed to be an old lady, not you. I'm here to rent, and you're making up some ridiculous story." "Har! You're still struggling. My tenant is clearly a man. How could it possibly be you?" Both of them stood there, bewildered, unable to make sense of what was happening. At that moment, Xia Junnan's phone rang. He pulled it from his pocket, only to see that it was a call from the real estate agent. Unable to help it, he held Luo Yuqing down with one hand while answering the call. What? My tenant is a woman. Why didn't you tell me earlier? After a brief explanation from the agent, Xia Junnan finally made the connection between the tenant information and the woman he had subdued. He quickly released his hold on her. Cough, cough, I think I might have made a mistake. I am indeed the landlord, not the old lady you mentioned. The agent didn't clarify things properly. We both misunderstood each other, Xia Junnan said, feeling a bit awkward. Seeing the sudden shift in his attitude, Luo Yuqing remained cautious. What? I don't believe you. Since you say you're the landlord, what was the name on the rental site? And what is my WeChat display name? Luo Yuqing couldn't believe the elderly landlord was now a young man. The name on the rental site was Rong Momo, and your WeChat profile picture is a landscape painting with the name Add Oil, Add Oil. Now, you should believe me, right? Heavens, why would a man use that name? Do you secretly want to be an old lady? Luo Yuqing, seeing the mix-up, realized it was a case of mistaken identity. I haven't even asked you why you use a middle-aged man's profile picture. While speaking, Xia Junnan hurriedly untied her and turned on the living room lights. As the lights flickered on, Luo Yuqing stood up, having noticed Xia Junnan's gaze. The physical struggle had left her with some bruises, and her once smooth black hair had become messy. Her damaged t-shirt now hung loosely, revealing her white shoulders and underwear, which she quickly covered with a blanket from the sofa. Her large, clear eyes locked onto Xia Junnan's, seemingly piercing straight through him, yet her sweet and innocent face made her beauty even more mesmerizing. Even though Xia Junnan had been living with the beautiful Zhang Yaoyao, he was still momentarily stunned by Luo Yuqing's appearance. Zhang Yaoyao had a mature, seductive allure, while Luo Yuqing exuded an ethereal beauty, like an angel who had fallen to earth, her beauty almost unbearable to look at. Of course, Luo Yuqing's gaze was merely directed at Xia Junnan as part of their conversation, but her expression and appearance left an unforgettable impression on him. Hey, be careful, don't get any funny ideas. Since we've cleared up the misunderstanding, you thought the landlord was a woman, now please leave. You don't belong here. Her words made Xia Junnan's anger flare up. Do you know whose house this is? How can you make such a request? We're two strangers living together. What does that sound like? Luo Yuqing, afraid of being targeted by a man, felt uncomfortable and had developed a mild case of misandry. She had become used to being the center of attention, and too many people had shown interest in her. What era is this? You're calling us two strangers. With your thin frame, why would anyone want to look at you? Xia Junnan's words were not physically hurtful, but they were insulting enough to anger her further. HMPH, I doubt anyone would like you either, with that messy appearance and no taste. Luo Yuqing, still angry, felt a bit relieved at least she was safe from his advances. However, her words were laced with resentment. When the lights came on, she finally saw his features clearly. His sharp, sculpted features and tall, slender frame gave off an intellectual vibe. Even the big-name male celebrities she had seen didn't compare to the elegance he exuded. How about this? You can take the rent I paid and use it to rent a place elsewhere. I've seen other similar apartments around here. You haven't looked into the prices of other places, have you? This is the lowest price, Xia Junnan retorted. If you want me to leave, you'll have to pay the difference for another place. In this suburb, the rent for a similar apartment should be at least 5,000 a month. I'm not making things hard for you, just pay me 4,000 extra and I'll move out. Only 4,000. Fine, I'll give it to you now. Luo Yuqing quickly opened her WeChat wallet, only to find she had less than 100 left. She checked her bank accounts, and after adding everything together, she realized she didn't even have 2,000. Stunned, she took a deep breath and smiled at Xia Junnan. Well, let us talk again. Chapter 4, Intimate Contact with a Beauty. This time, it was Luo Yuqing's turn to feel awkward. Her earlier bold declarations now slapped her in the face. The harsh reality was that her company had stopped paying her salary long ago, and she was out of money. The situation of a beautiful woman struggling with no money was now playing out in front of her. Har, I knew it. You're out of money, aren't you? That's why you're renting my place, right? You were just looking for a cheaper price, said Summer Junan, now on top. Here's the deal, Summer Junan continued, as you can see, the living room is quite spacious, and our rooms are on opposite sides of it. There's no need for us to meet in our rooms. Let's try not to run into each other this month. This should work, right? Summer Junan was the first to propose a solution, but Luo Yuqing thought it wasn't enough. Clearly, this depended on mutual self-restraint. What if the other person crossed the line? This isn't enough. What if you try to take advantage of me? Luo Yuqing asked. Take advantage of you? Let me be clear, I'm more worried that you'll be eyeing my good looks. Summer Junan responded. What? Luo Yuqing was stunned and stared at him in disbelief. It was the first time she'd heard a man say something like this. What's so surprising? Women get hit on all the time for their looks, don't we guys face the same thing? There are plenty of women out there eyeing men, too, Summer Junan said with a shrug. And as guys, we get the short end of the stick. When we get taken advantage of, we can't even complain. Summer Junan thought back to when he was younger and naive, and how he had been targeted by that scheming woman, Zhang Yao Yao. Had she had better options, she probably wouldn't have focused on him. Stop. I have a condition, Luo Yuqing said, making a stop gesture. It's simple. Don't come within a meter of me, or you'll be fined 100 yuan. If you even touch me, even if it's just brushing against my clothes, there's an additional fine of 100. That's not fair. What if you approach me first? Summer Junan protested. Fair enough. If I touch you first, I'll pay the fine, Luo Yuqing said. Deal, Summer Junan agreed, and both sides retreated to their rooms, locking their doors. Originally, Summer Junan had planned to cook something simple for dinner, but the interruption had already made it too late. Luckily, he had some snacks in his room to tide him over. Sitting at his computer, he opened a bag of chips and logged into Huaxia Network to check on his submission for the competition. This competition was organized by online users who voted for the contestants. Every participant's work would be given a chance to appear in the site's recommended section, ensuring everyone had an equal opportunity. Looking at the current data. Likes, 1. Favorites, 1. Votes, 0. With thousands of submissions, it was easy for a new one to be buried in the crowd. Summer Junan's submission had been uploaded for less than 2 hours. At that moment, a message popped up from the website. You can write something attention-grabbing to increase your exposure. Summer Junan clicked on his work, and since he used a simple username Junan, he added a catchy line in the traffic section, I'm here to win first place, nothing else. To grab attention, he figured he needed to spark some discussion. Sure enough, shortly after uploading, his post drew some attention. Although there were still no votes, likes and favorites began to accumulate, and the comments section gradually grew lively. This person is so arrogant. Who dares to say they'll win first place in a poetry competition? One commenter wrote. And he calls himself Junan. Based on my experience, anyone who calls themselves handsome is usually ugly, said another. I have to see what kind of poetry this person writes, a third person commented. One of the commenters, named I am not a music god, clicked the link to check out his submission. Meanwhile, in a villa in the city center, a 10-year-old boy sat in front of his computer. He was, I am not a music god, a child prodigy known for skipping grades in school and excelling in music. He was also a music influencer, with countless motherly fans who loved listening to him sing children's songs. His early fame had made him quite arrogant. This time, he had entered the poetry competition as well. Coming from a family steeped in traditional culture, his grandfather was a famous calligrapher and poet. He had vowed to carry on his grandfather's legacy and promote traditional culture. HMPH, this person is too arrogant. I'll share his poem in my fan group and embarrass him. With my powerful fan base, they could drown him with a single spit. The boy muttered to himself, clicking to open the link. As he read the poem, his expression froze, and his eyes widened in shock. This poem, where did he copy it from? The boy wasn't trying to be malicious. As a rare prodigy, he had seen a lot in his young life, and he knew how few people could write high-level poetry. It was even rarer for an unknown user to produce such a piece. Without thinking further, he quickly posted the poem on Douyin, TikTok and Weibo, sending it to his grandfather as well. Meanwhile, Summer Junan wasn't paying much attention to the comments. Realizing the time, he logged out of the website and prepared to sleep. Next door, Luo Yuqing wasn't rushing to bed either. She took out her electric guitar from her suitcase and opened her laptop to study lyrics, composing, and musical scores. It had to be said that when one has a standout talent, they often have some weaknesses. Luo Yuqing, for example, wasn't bad at singing, but she struggled with writing lyrics and composing. While her singing was fine for a hobby, she had no competitive edge as a professional singer. The competition China's strongest voice was full of top-notch talents. Even with her looks as an advantage, reaching the top 3 was nothing but a pipe dream. In 3 days, the preliminaries would end, and if she didn't come up with something extraordinary, it would be hard for her to even make the top 20. She had written many drafts but couldn't find inspiration. After some time, frustrated and hungry, she decided to quickly get ready for bed. Luo Yuqing stood up, grabbed her pajamas, and went to the bathroom to brush her teeth before starting her shower. However, an unexpected mishap occurred. The shower head suddenly broke. What's going on?" she exclaimed, tapping the shower head with her hand. Shampoo foam was still stuck in her hair. Frustrated, she wrapped herself in a towel and grabbed her phone to call the landlord, Summer Junan. But after several attempts, he didn't answer. By now, it was late at night, and Summer Junan was already fast asleep, oblivious to the ringing. In a panic, Luo Yuqing put on her slippers and hurried across the living room, heading for Summer Junan's bedroom door. Knock knock knock. Knock knock knock. The loud knocking woke Summer Junan. "Who's there at this time of night?" he groggily asked as he tried to wake up. After a moment, he realized something didn't feel right. "Wait, is someone trying to break into my room? Damn, what's with all this bad luck tonight?" he muttered, rubbing his eyes. "It's me. The shower head in my room broke, and I only managed to wash half of my hair," Luo Yuqing quickly explained. Summer Junan realized that it was his new tenant causing trouble and rushed to turn on the light and get out of bed to open the door. "I'm coming. Stop knocking." But just as he opened the door, Luo Yuqing didn't react in time and lost her balance, falling straight toward him. In the chaos, her towel slipped off, and her naked body toppled onto him. There was a loud thud as Summer Junan fell backward, and Luo Yuqing landed on top of him. Their bodies were pressed together in an intimate embrace, faces nearly touching lips. Harassment. Summer Junan quickly closed his eyes and screamed, remembering their earlier agreement. Chapter 5. You actually yelled molestation. Luo Yuqing stood up at the speed of light when she heard the voice, picked up the bath towel that had fallen off and wrapped it again, her face flushed with shame. Summer Junan felt the weight on his body disappear, and he also stood up with his hands covering his eyes. Are you still a man? It was obviously you who took advantage of me, but you actually yelled molestation, so shameless." Luo Yuqing pointed at Summer Junan with shame and anger. Summer Junan opened his eyes slightly when he heard the voice, and saw through his fingers that the other party had wrapped the bath towel around him, so he put down his hand covering his eyes and opened his eyes. "After all, it was a beautiful woman in my arms just now, and it would be a lie to say that I didn't react. At that moment, the blood in my body rushed to my forehead, and I almost had a nosebleed. Fortunately, I reacted quickly, otherwise I would definitely not be able to control myself if I had been a little longer." "You are so unreasonable, woman. You knocked on my door late at night and said the shower head was broken. I opened the door and you threw yourself on me. What's your intention?" "I have to take the initiative this time," Summer Junan began to think. "Now I have reason to think you did it on purpose. Although I don't know what your intention is, it is not ruled out that you can't resist the temptation of my beauty. We agreed before that whoever approaches the other party will be fined. You threw me down. Fine 200, give me the money." Luo Yuqing has never seen such a shameless man even though she has experienced so many things in the entertainment industry. Her face has turned pale from the blush just now. "Okay, I'm wrong this time. I admit it." Luo Yuqing lowered her head, bit her lip and thought for a moment before looking up. After all, what the other party said was reasonable. This time she can only suffer a loss. "But I can only owe you this money first. You know, I don't have much money left. I need the remaining money for my life. I'll write you an IOU." Summer Junan saw that her attitude had completely softened, and he didn't want to continue to embarrass such a beauty, so he decided to stop while he was ahead. Okay, I'll give you a pen and paper, write it. Luo Yuqing picked up the pen and paper on the table in the room and wrote the IOU, and Xia Junnan put it in the drawer in time. Now can you help me check the shower head? Luo Yuqing said with a pout. Xia Junnan nodded and walked towards the guest room with Luo Yuqing. When he came to the shower head without water, Xia Junnan checked the corresponding equipment, turned the switch with his hand, and the shower head actually started to flow water normally again. What are your intentions? Xia Junnan really felt that the other party had ulterior motives, which was obviously intentional. He began to speculate in his heart. It seems that this beauty is in financial difficulties. Could it be that she is really thinking about me because I am handsome and have such a large flat? Luo Yuqing on the side felt that she was even more reasonable and could not explain it clearly. Whether you believe it or not, what I said just now is true. Stop, emphasize that we must keep a distance of 1 meter in the future, I'm leaving first. Xia Junnan didn't want to listen to the explanation anymore, so he left and went back to his room. Luo Yuqing, who was frustrated, was naturally unwilling. After taking a shower, she checked repeatedly and found that it was because she didn't turn the switch properly at the beginning that caused the sudden water outage. She touched her cheeks with both hands and felt helpless. This time, she couldn't explain it clearly. It was already 3 o'clock in the morning after the two of them tossed around. The sky was already white in the sky. Xia Junnan felt extremely sleepy. No matter whether it was dawn or not, he had nothing to do anyway, so he fell on the bed and began to sleep soundly. Luo Yuqing, who was worried, couldn't sleep, so she picked up her electric guitar and sang the ballads she once liked. City Center Villa. Grandpa, Grandpa. Dudu, it's not even dawn yet and you come to call Grandpa. The grey-haired old man looked at his precious grandson sleepily. He was Wang Qingxia, a contemporary Chinese calligraphy master. The little boy named Dudu was the netizen who said, "I'm not a music god." He excitedly took his computer to his grandfather's room. "Grandpa, have you read the link I sent you before?" "What link?" Grandpa was practicing calligraphy yesterday and didn't look at his phone or computer. "Grandpa, there is an amazing work in the poetry competition." "Oh? It's amazing that my precious grandson can say such an evaluation. But no matter how amazing it is, it won't keep you awake." "What time is it now?" "Grandpa, it's just exciting and hard to fall asleep." "Oh? It can affect my grandson's sleep, I have to see it." Seeing his grandson being so serious, Wang Qingxia put on his pajamas and went to the tea table in the room. The grandfather and grandson turned on the computer and entered Douyin first. They were shocked when they saw that their grandson's fans were only a few 100,000, but it suddenly increased to more than 600,000 fans. Because Dudu has to balance his studies, it is impossible for him to go online every day for live broadcasts, and he doesn't often post works, so he is just a small internet celebrity. As a result, the number of fans skyrocketed overnight. A glance at the comments section showed that all of them were discussing Wang Yu. That's right, it was this poem that boosted his traffic and made him more popular, so Dudu was so excited that he couldn't sleep and went to share it with his grandfather. At the same time, they opened the official website of the poetry competition and clicked on the work Wang Yu again. Likes, 20,000. Collections, 20,000. Votes, 10,000. In just less than one night, the data increased from 0 to over 10,000, which was inseparable from Dudu's promotion on his Douyin account. The attention caused by "I'm not the god of music" on his own account caused a series of chain reactions. Originally, the poetry competition did not attract much attention, but because of this poem, many people entered huoxia.com one after another. The discussion area was even more heated. Seeing this, Wang Qingxia became more curious about the content of the poem and quickly looked up to watch it carefully. "How is Mount Tai?" Chilu Qingwei Liao. Wang Qingxia, who has seen countless famous works, was also impressed by the beginning of these two sentences, but he still felt that they were not so amazing, but just marveled at the admiration for Mount Tai. The reason why he felt impressed was that the other party actually knew that Dai was a nickname for Mount Tai, and such an opening match was just right. This contestant named Junnan is not bad. I haven't seen such an eye-catching opening in many years. Continue to read. Nature is full of wonders, and yin and yang divide dusk and dawn. The word, zhang, brings the world to life. Their whole nature is so sentimental that it gives all the magic and beauty to Mount Tai. The side facing the sun in front of the mountain is yang, and the side facing the sun behind the mountain is yin. One dusk and one dawn correspond to the two sides of yin and yang. This is an unprecedented usage. Wang Qingxia, who has been calm for many years, couldn't help but be as excited as a child at this moment. Awesome. It can be said that he is a master of writing. When he soar, the clouds are rising in my chest, and the returning birds are in my eyes. I will climb to the top of the mountain and look down on all the other mountains. Wang Qingxia was stunned. The last two sentences, I will climb to the top of the mountain and look down on all the other mountains, are the finishing touch. This is the majestic and imposing manner of the mountain. It is the ambition and courage to climb to the top and look down on everything. Wang Qingxia recalled his youthful vigor and ambition. The comparison between his ambition at that time and his old age now was really emotional. I have lived for almost a lifetime, and I have never seen anyone who can express his feelings through objects to such an extent. This poem is a masterpiece. Chapter 6, Looking at the Mountain, sparked heated discussion. Grandpa also thinks this poem is a masterpiece, so is it copied? Dudu looked at the screen with expectation, and his doubts deepened. But no matter what, he was very grateful because the other party's poem increased his traffic. Wang Qingxia also fell into deep thought. The grandfather and grandson looked at the comment area of the two platforms again and found that many people had associated the poem with people, and they were all guessing who the author was. The content of the discussion among netizens seems to be a bit biased. Such unprecedented poems must have been written by a hidden master. The guess above is wrong. Which hidden master can be called Junan? In my opinion, it is possible that the master's apprentice stole such a poem and submitted it. Yes, a person with such literary attainments is at least 100 years old. First, people without foundation and life experience can't write such poems at all. Second, 90 or 100-year-old people are unlikely to go online, let alone participate in competitions. That's not necessarily the case. Maybe the old man just wants to make this masterpiece public. The online name can't indicate the other person's age. After a discussion, most people actually think that Junan is an old mysterious scholar. Some even think that a hermit who has reached this level is likely to have such a young and secular online name. From the perspective of the realm of poetry, it is very likely that his heart is close to innocence, that is, the legendary old naughty boy. Grandpa thinks this poem is definitely not plagiarism. Who else can he plagiarize with such a level of poetry? There is no similar poem to plagiarize from ancient times to the present. Wang Qingxia said to Dudu with emotion. Dudu was shocked, there really is such a hidden master. Grandpa, I really want to meet this old man. It would be great if I could worship him as my teacher. Dudu. This won't work. Grandpa should worship first if he wants to worship. How can it be your turn as a child? Grandpa, you. The calligraphy master with a very high vision actually wants to worship someone as his teacher. If a third person heard it, he would be shocked. Celebrities in the cultural world have always been indifferent to anything, not to mention that there is no first in literature and no second in martial arts. It is not easy for a literary master with a very high reputation and status to say such words as worshipping a teacher. It was soon noon. Although the sun was shining, a rare scene appeared in the tourist center of Mount Tai scenic area. Zheng Bing, the person in charge of the visitor center, stared at the scene in front of him with his eyes wide open. Usually, there are few tourists all year round. Today, no one knows what kind of wind is blowing. The huge visitor center is crowded with people queuing up to buy tickets. The key is that it is still the hot summer and the off-season for tourism. This is abnormal and incredible in Zheng Bing's eyes. Mountain climbing has never been a popular option for tourism in China. Compared with the peaks of mountains and ridges, people generally like to go shopping leisurely or check in at internet celebrity stores, or go to beautiful gardens in their spare time. Most of the time, there is no one. Zheng Bing, who has been working for nearly 10 years, has not been able to complete the tourist volume indicators imposed by the scenic spot all year round. Usually, he can only be decadent with a meager salary. It is difficult to support his family. His wife has been arguing with him for divorce every few days recently. But he is lucky to have a job in the scenic spot without any skills. There is really no way to make more money. Zheng Bing feels that he should buy a lottery ticket after get off work today. So many tourists come, isn't that a stroke of luck? This day, the annual tourist volume task has been completed, a year's performance. No longer a salary. Hey, wait a minute, little girl. I want to ask why you want to come to our Mount Tai during this unusual time of year. Zheng Bing asked curiously, calling a group of girls who looked like students. You don't even know this. Did you go online yesterday? There is a poem about Mount Tai online. Of course we have to come and experience it. That's right. After seeing it, our school teacher directly forwarded it to Moments for us to learn and recite. And it was the poem recommended by the 10-year-old prodigy, the music god, from Douyin. After answering, the group of female students hurriedly bought tickets and went in, leaving Jingbing confused. Jingbing was stunned for a moment, then he realized it belatedly and opened his phone to open Douyin. When he saw the popularity information of the ranking list that day, there was actually a poem ranked third on the hot search list. I just didn't check my phone yesterday. What's wrong with the world? Poetry ranked third. What's going on? Although Wuxia has been holding poetry competitions for nearly 10 years, there has been no splash every year. The attempt to spread traditional culture through poetry has achieved little success, so Jingbing, a small manager of such a cultural scenic spot, would find it incredible. Jingbing clicked on the poem and saw that the traffic was simply amazing. The click rate reached 1 million overnight. The key was that after reading the comments, he realized that it was a poem voted by a netizen, and he didn't know who the real person was. What a big deal! Jingbing saw that it was this poem that made their scenic spot popular. He estimated that it was far from the peak of traffic, and the more time passed, the more people there would be in the scenic spot. He immediately called the person in charge of the scenic spot to arrange staff. The person in charge who received the call was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. After arranging the staff, he went to buy lottery tickets directly. There was no way, I really felt that I had to take advantage of this wave of luck. It was too outrageous. For many years, people thought that this scenic spot was hopeless. Zhu Jihan, the leader in charge, was just about to resign and transfer to another place before answering the phone. He tore up the resignation letter directly after answering the phone. While everyone outside was discussing Summer Junan submitted poems all day, he slept soundly until 5 p.m. when the sun was about to set, and his computer and mobile phone were turned off. Summer Junan had no idea that so many things had happened overnight. He got up after a good sleep and opened his mobile phone to order takeout for dinner. He didn't want to cook much. He used to serve Zhang Yaoyao for so long, but now he didn't want to cook so much by himself. Although he didn't have much money now, he felt good to enjoy this convenient takeout service. He used to rarely order takeout for Zhang Yaoyao, and he made nutritious meals for her in person to take care of her health and body management. Luo Yuqing in another room thought that she had overused her brain by repeatedly studying the music scores and lyrics. Although she hadn't slept all the time, her brain was overused. Instead, she was too excited to sleep, so she lay on the bed for a while and started practicing singing again. Summer Junan heard the singing next door and remembered that he always heard singing when he was sleeping in the early morning. At first, he thought it was his hallucination, but now he knew that it was his female tenant who was singing all the time. Summer Junan guessed that the other party might be a singer. He thought that the other party actually had a very good voice condition, but the professionalism was far behind Zhang Yaoyao, but it had nothing to do with him. He looked at the movement next door. After the singing stopped, there was no sign of the person coming out. He went to the living room to pour a cup of tea, turned on the TV for a while, and the takeaway arrived soon. Happily opened the takeaway package and ate the long-lost beer and fried chicken. After all, the living room was not far from Luo Yuqing's room. She was in the room and obviously knew the movement outside. She remembered that she hadn't eaten for a day. It was still the bread she had on the road before taking a taxi that lasted until now. The stomach growled, and she smelled the fragrance of rice, so she put down the electric guitar and opened the door quietly. Chapter 7 The money is coming. That noise. Summer Junan still heard the sound of the door opening next door. He turned his head and looked towards the guest room not far away. He saw Luo Yuqing carefully poking her head out. Hey, what do you want to do again? Summer Junan thought that this was going to start something weird again. Well, I haven't eaten for a whole day. I see you ordered a lot of takeout. Can you give me some? Luo Yuqing asked timidly, covering her stomach with her hands. Because of the previous running and tearing, coupled with lack of sleep, her originally rosy cheeks lost their color and looked a little pale. But in Summer Junan's eyes, it looked more like pretending to be pitiful. You know this is takeaway, can't you order it online? Well, my phone is running out of battery, it may not be able to support the internet, or it will shut down automatically. She was mainly waiting for a call from her agent Zhao Huan. The next day would be the China's strongest voice competition. She glanced at her phone before she came out, and Zhao Huan had sent her a message after all. But the message said that she was busy cooking for the children at the moment and would call her back later. Well, I really didn't mean to do that with the shower head last night. Luo Yuqing explained again, but it felt like she was trying to cover up the truth. You don't need to explain this anymore. No matter what your purpose is, a small thing is over. Summer Junan rolled his eyes in his heart. I can give you some, but don't come over. I'll throw it to you, catch it. Summer Junan picked up the food that had not been unpacked and raised his hand to throw it out. Luo Yanqing quickly caught it. Thank you, I'll put this on my IOU, and I'll pay you back when I have money. Okay, no problem, don't worry, I won't forget to keep the account. Well, okay, I'll go back to my room. After the showerhead incident last night, Luo Yuqing felt inexplicably guilty, so her attitude changed a lot. But in Summer Junan's opinion, the other party seemed to want to get close to him in a different way. After all, there was Zhang Yaoyou's previous experience. Women's hearts are like needles in the sea. Who knows what this beautiful woman is thinking? Of course, Summer Junan would never admit that he felt sympathy for the other party because of her haggard appearance. He knew that the other party had not eaten for a day, because he had not left the room since he entered the room. If the other party went out during his sleep, the password door would have a prompt sound. Luo Yuqing returned to the room and opened the food package, which contained bread, fried chicken and drinks. She ate without caring about her image alone in the room. In Luo Yuqing's opinion, the other party really had no idea about her. Although this man was a little narcissistic, it was a good thing for her. She could live here with peace of mind. This was the first time since childhood that she met a man who was not only not interested in her, but also afraid of being taken advantage of by her. Thinking of this, Luo Yuqing felt a little funny for some reason. She finished her food quickly because she was too hungry, and burped comfortably. Just then, the charging mobile phone rang, and the caller ID was Zhao Huan, who called quickly. Because the mobile phone was still charging, Luo Yuqing had to turn on the hands-free. Yuqing, I'm sorry to call you now. Where do you live? Is the environment okay? After a fierce ideological struggle, Zhao Huan decided to stand by Luo Yuqing's side and help her work hard. Even if you know the result is not good, you have to make a desperate struggle. Sister Huan, I'm renting a house in the western suburbs, but it's a little far from the city. Tomorrow I'll take the earliest subway to the venue of the strongest voice, and we can meet there. Sister Huan, don't worry, I rented a large flat with a good environment. That's good. How are your new songs going? Do you have any ideas? I tried to compose a song, but the performance is ordinary, but Sister Huan, you know that I'm only at this level. Yeah, try your best. After all, there is still a reselection before the top 10 competition. You can choose to sing existing popular songs, and at least you can buy a few days. All Zhao Huan can say at this moment is comfort. On the other side, Summer Junan also vaguely heard their conversation in the room in the living room. After all, it was on speakerphone. He knew that the other party was going to participate in China's strongest voice, and remembered that before the divorce, he heard that Zhang Yaoyou was also going to participate, but she found a sponsor to avoid the preliminary audition, and she directly got a high ranking in the reselection. After finishing his brief reminiscence, Summer Junan returned to his room after eating and opened huoxia.com again to see how Wang Yu was doing. But he found that the browser was much slower. After finally entering the page, he found that it was because there was too much information that caused the network speed to be blocked. Summer Junan's brain almost crashed when he saw the overwhelming news. Likes, 1 million. Collections, 790,000. Votes, 2 million. Unread private messages, 999 plus. Unread comments, 999 plus. Summer Junan was confused when he saw these data. Yes, the poem of the poet is indeed immortal, but he originally thought that this is Blue Star, and people's appreciation may be different. Another thing is that after all, it is the first time for a newcomer to publish a poem. It always takes some time from no one to a big hit. But what's going on? There is no buffer time. 1 day. In just 1 day, the data has risen to 1 million. What was even more unexpected to him was the big red font on the Huaxia website. From now on, the first prize winner of the poetry competition is Mr. Junan. Please try your best to get the second place. Come on everyone. This first prize is mine now. 100,000 yuan. That's great. Can I go and collect the prize money now? You should know that the poetry competition has never had such a situation, that is, the first place is determined in advance before the whole network competition is over. It's really that the poems of others are too far away from Summer Junan's. The difference is not just the data, but the level of heaven. There is no so-called second place in the strict sense, because the first place is already extraordinary. At this time, in an ancient courtyard in a commercial center of Huacheng, several of the most influential masters in the Chinese literary world are meeting. They are also the organizers of this poetry competition. Mr. Wang, do you want to contact this gentleman now? The person asking the question is a middle-aged man wearing a Zhongshan suit and black-framed glasses, Zhuan, who is also a leader in the literary world. Sitting in the middle of the living room was Wang Qingxia, who nodded seriously. I want to meet this author. I think he is still likely to come out as the organizer. What Mr. Wang said is that it is still early. I guess a man in his 90s will not go to bed too early. Now I will call to make an appointment as the organizer. Zhuan calmly put forward his opinion and received support from everyone, so he picked up his phone and dialed the number left by Huaxia Online handsome man when he participated in the competition, and turned on the hands-free mode. Ding ding ding. As the phone signal was connected, everyone present stared at the phone on the table and took a deep breath, staring at it motionlessly. Chapter 8 Identity Revealed. Such a primitive ringtone without any music is obviously very likely to be from an old man. Summer Junan was still digesting the popularity of the poem he posted on the internet when his phone rang. He hung up immediately when he saw that it was from an unfamiliar number, thinking it was a harassing call. There are so many harassing calls now. On the other side, several literary masters were not calm. The author actually hung up the phone directly. Several people discussed that it would not be good to call repeatedly, which would be disrespectful to this poet. It would be better to leave a message directly on the poetry competition website. Quickly go to the platform and send a contact request in the exclusive mailbox. The organizer's message soon appeared in Summer Junan's mailbox and was pinned to the top immediately. Huh! The organizer actually sent a message. It seems that I am going to collect the money now. It says, "Hello, Mr. Junan, is it convenient for you to answer the phone? This is our contact information." The phone number attached below made Summer Junan feel very familiar, and he immediately replied, "Okay." Just after replying, the phone rang again, and Summer Junan picked up the phone and found that the number was still the harassing call from before. Looking at it again, it turned out to be the number of the organizer of the poetry competition, and Summer Junan quickly pressed the connect button. Several bigwigs in the ancient courtyard sat around a conference table and were so nervous that they couldn't breathe when they saw the connected call. "Hello, is this Mr. Junan?" Zhuan took a deep breath and asked politely with a forced calmness. "Yes, I am Junan, but why is it Mr. Old?" "My name is not Old." A very young boy came from the phone, and several masters opened their mouths in surprise. Some of them were holding a cup to drink tea, and the tea sprayed directly from their mouths. "No, sorry, are you the author of Wang Yu, Ben?" Zhuan tried his best to control his trembling hands and held the phone steady and asked again. "That's right, didn't the organizer send a message to contact me?" Summer Junan felt strange, why would he doubt his age? "Sorry, Mr. Junan, we got your age wrong. It's like this. Because your work has a great influence and a surprising response, we want to arrange a time for you to come to our office to collect the prize money." Zhuan was still quick to respond. The people present still couldn't believe that the author was so young. "I decide the time. Collect it at any time. Of course, everything is based on your time. You can come any day when you are free. Then tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., you send me the address, I will go directly there." Summer Junan heard that he decided the time, so he did it as soon as possible. If it wasn't too far from here to the city, he would have directly set it at 9 a.m. Since it was to collect the prize money, it was naturally the sooner the better, and it was safe to put it in the pocket. For a homeless person like him with no income, it was important to have a source of income. "Okay, then we'll wait for you at the Gufeng Villa tomorrow." "Yes, that's right, the name of this Gufeng Villa is Gufeng Villa. Since you're coming to our place tomorrow, I'll give you some money for transportation." Xuan offered a subsidy at the right time. "Ah, there's such a treatment. It's only right for you to make a trip in such a hot day." Xuan thought that he was going to propose to send a special car to pick you up, but he was afraid that this gentleman would mind that they seemed too ostentatious. After hanging up the phone, Xuan took the initiative to apply to add Xie Junan's prestige and directly transferred a red envelope of 10,000 yuan. Xie Junan opened the red envelope and saw that it was 10,000 yuan. He thought that the organizer was too generous. Just for transportation expenses, he gave so much, which was equal to the third prize in the event. He was so happy at the moment, he was really sitting at home and making money from the sky. On the other side, several people in the ancient-style villa began a heated discussion. This. How could it be a young man? Could it be that he is not the poet himself? Is he sending poems on behalf of the hermit master? Everyone, I think whether he wrote the poem himself or not, this handsome man is not simple. Even if he sent poems on behalf of the master, his relationship with the master is extraordinary. Xuan's words made several people present nod in agreement. In fact, he sent the transportation fee to show goodwill first. Whether he wrote it himself or not, it is good to make friends with this person first. I have another suggestion. Tomorrow morning we will see the real person, why not test him again? Wang Qingshi suddenly thought of this good idea and suggested giving it a try. How is Mr. Wen going to test? Xuan asked. We can ask him to improvise poems on the pretext of poetry appreciation. Since he can write a famous poem like Viewing the Mountain, he can also improvise a few ordinary poems. After all, famous poems are not something that can be made casually. Few people can do it from ancient times to the present. If he can improvise doggerel, it can prove that he is a poet. After all, none of us can improvise poems casually. Even ordinary poems need to be considered. If he can't do it, we can continue to make friends for a while and we will definitely have the opportunity to meet the master behind the scenes. Several people thought Wang Qingshi's proposal was very good and agreed to do so. The next morning, Xie Junan took a taxi to the center of Huacheng City to keep the appointment according to the location sent by the other party. Luo Yuqing also contacted Zhao Huan and asked to meet him. Zhao Huan also came to the large flat in the western suburbs to find her at her request. It was at this time that Zhao Huan brought Luo Yuqing the latest news. What? China's strongest voice is going to change the topic of the competition. Why? Luo Yuqing felt that the song she had written with great difficulty in the past 2 days was written in vain, and she felt like crying but had no tears. Yes, originally in the final original song stage, there was no limit to the subject matter and you could freely express yourself. After all, original songs are difficult to stand out. But a poetry competition suddenly appeared in the past 2 days. This event is usually just a small event, and it has nothing to do with our entertainment industry. As a result, a poem suddenly appeared and became popular on the entire internet. Haven't you checked the hot searches in the past 2 days? Luo Yuqing really didn't notice it. She was busy writing songs and singing these 2 days. How could she have the energy to play with her mobile phone? She hasn't watched Douyin for several days. So in the original song stage of the finals, the current topic is ancient-style songs, which is to keep up with the popularity of this round of poetry activities. It's only 2 days, and the entire poetry competition is still early to end. This wave of popularity is expected to continue for a long time at China's strongest voice. After Zhao Huan explained the situation, he took out a bottle of mineral water, unscrewed the cap and drank it in big gulps. He was really thirsty after talking for a long time on the way here. Oh my god! I can barely come up with original modern songs, but I can't write ancient-style songs. Luo Yuqing felt that this was even more hopeless. Forget it, why don't I see where I can earn some money by singing on the street? The slender fingers scratched her hair in annoyance. On the other side, Xie Junan came to the door of the ancient-style villa, and several middle-aged and elderly literary masters were already waiting at the door. When they saw the confirmation from both parties, they were even more shocked. You are Junan? Yes. As the name suggests, he is really handsome. Xuan was the first to sigh. His appearance is comparable to that of a popular male star, no wonder he is called Junan. Wang Qingshi muttered in his heart, isn't this the kind of fresh meat that the kids are chasing now? Can he write poetry? Chapter 9. Suspecting that there is a master behind him. Seeing Xie Junan, several people have confirmed that there is really a mysterious master behind him. Not to mention other things, just based on the appearance of this flowery boy, it is unlikely that he has been able to study poetry for many years. Although his voice sounded young on the phone, it was estimated that he was in his early 30s, but when he saw him in person, he was probably in his 20s. These characteristics are far from those of a master with a rich literary background. Even if a genius is in his early 30s, it is possible to make this, but the possibility is almost zero in his early 20s. How old are you this year, Mr. Junan? Seeing that he is too young, Xuan has unconsciously changed you to you. It is really impossible to call you. Xie Junan thought that this is to verify the identity for the convenience of paying money. I am exactly 23 years old this year. What is your real name? Xuan continued to ask. Xie Junan, the third character, is Nan in the south. Oh, it seems that it is a pen name based on the real name. 23. Still in the age of the lunar calendar. At this age, this poem is definitely not written by him. The masters exchanged glances and understood each other. They all thought of the same thing and nodded to each other. Oh, what a young talent, then Mr. Junan, please come in now. The customary rule is to call people by their pen names or online names directly. The other people were very old after all. After hearing the specific age, they were stunned and didn't know how to react. Xuan had to speak again. Har, I haven't asked who this big brother is. Xie Junan saw that the atmosphere was a little awkward when they looked at him, so he took the initiative to speak, but he couldn't ask the old man first. This uncle with black-framed glasses already looked the youngest, but it was obviously better to call him Big Brother when they met for the first time. Har, my name is Xuan, and I am the main person in charge of this poetry competition. Sure enough, Xuan was obviously happier after hearing this title. By the way, let me introduce these masters of our Chinese literary world first. Xuan began to introduce them one by one, and led Xie Junan and the old masters into the living room, and sat down face to face. They were all cultural people, so even if they had doubts, they would not express them directly. After Xuan asked the staff to pour a cup of tea for everyone, Xie Junan still stood up and bowed respectfully to the elders. It's a great honor to meet all the elders today, and brothers Xue. But, didn't the phone say that I came to collect the bonus? What is the withdrawal process? His words made several heavyweights look at each other in surprise. Some were surprised that someone who could write such a poem would ask for money so directly. They exchanged glances with each other. After all, he is still young. Xie Junan didn't care whether these literary bigwigs were bigwigs or not, and didn't care whether these people had other purposes. He just needed to be polite. The key was the bonus. Mr. Junan, don't worry. Please provide your bank card number. Okay. Xuan immediately called the bank to transfer the money, but after hanging up the phone, he secretly sent a message to the bank manager to let the money arrive slowly. It was mainly because Xie Junan looked like he was here for money. Once the money arrived, he would probably find an excuse to leave immediately. After a while, Xie Junan saw that he hadn't received the payment notification message on his mobile phone, and he was a little anxious. He was about to ask, and Wang Qingxia, who was present, couldn't help it. Mr. Junan, is this poem really yours? When he thought about what he had said to his grandson before, he regretted that he had said it too early. He was in his 70s and thought that the other party was 90 or 100 years old. He was disappointed when he heard that the voice was from a young man. When he saw the real person again, he couldn't accept that he was in his early 20s. He always kept his word. If he made a mistake this time, he would be laughed at by his grandson. Yes, so I came to receive the award. Xie Junan actually saw that they didn't believe that he could write such a shocking poem at his age, but for him, the doubts of these masters were not important. The key was money. Okay, Mr. Wang, don't be so polite. Let me say a few words. Don't mind this handsome man. Actually, what Mr. Wang wants to ask is whether someone taught you this poem, right? Another Chinese poet, Zhang Hefeng, could not help but put down his cup and stood up. Unlike Wang Qingxia, he was impatient and directly asked the questions that everyone wanted to ask. After Zhang Hefeng started the conversation, others began to question and ask questions. Yes, to be honest, this viewing the mountain is rare in decades. We have no other intentions in inviting you here. Can you introduce us to the real poet? Yes, can we visit this poet? This poet must have a special relationship with you, handsome boy. Well, everyone has discovered it. Okay, I'll reveal my cards. This poem was written by a poet in a dream. I happened to remember it after I woke up from the dream, so I wrote it down. Summer Junan saw that everyone wanted to meet the original author Du Fu. How could he meet him? They were not on the same planet, nor in the same time and space. He could only make up a story and send it to him in a dream. Written in a dream. Then can you reveal the name of this poet? Poet Du Fu. Summer Junan also felt that it was not appropriate to say that he wrote it. After all, he was a plagiarist across the planet. Although the people of Blue Star would not know Du Fu, he still wanted to say it. This name is unheard of. It's not made up, it's still hard to find the author. Don't worry, young man. Even if this poem is not your original work, the bonus is still yours. Zhang Hafeng felt that the young man in front of him was too tight-lipped and refused to reveal anything, so he gave him a shot of confidence. He thought that the master behind him might be afraid that he would not receive the bonus if he revealed it. Everyone, please allow me to say that I don't rule out the possibility that the poet is indeed this handsome man himself. He has always been a hero since ancient times. Although he is young, this possibility cannot be ruled out. Perhaps it was Summer Junan who called him Big Brother when they first met, which made Zhuan feel familiar. In addition, he is in his 40s, much younger than the masters. When he was young, he was also considered a genius in the poetry world. However, as he grew older, his inspiration gradually ran out, and he could not write any good poems, so he could only be responsible for daily affairs. Is this possible? Everyone, be quiet. Let's test him. Wang Qingshi saw that everyone had different opinions and ideas, so he thought about verifying each other's level on the spot. Mr. Wang, this is a good idea. Do you dare to try it, handsome boy? Zhang Hafeng agreed. Okay, anyway, it's still early now, and the bonus hasn't arrived yet, so please ask questions. Summer Junan saw that this group of elderly people were so serious, and knew that they had to break the casserole and ask questions today. Anyway, they were idle anyway, and they would definitely get the money. 100,000 yuan would be enough for a while. If you can't answer the questions, you can't answer them. At most, you can go back to your homes at lunchtime. The elderly must pay attention to health preservation and eat on time when they are old. Please write a poem with the theme of missing your hometown, handsome boy, can you do it? Wang Qingshi began to ask questions. Yes. Summer Junan looked forward to adjust his state, and quickly searched for a short poem in his brain. Chapter 10 Another Quiet Night Thoughts. The moonlight shines brightly in front of the bed, I wonder if it is frost on the ground. Look up at the bright moon, look down and think of my hometown. Summer Junan calmly recited Li Bai's Quiet Night Thoughts. This. Everyone took a breath of cold air, and the older master was so shocked that he couldn't stand steadily and even had difficulty breathing. It was not easy to calm down and slowly sit down to start the evaluation. Good poem, good poem. The words used in these for short sentences are wonderful. I have never seen such a way to describe homesickness. It can be called a masterpiece. You can recite it casually. Could it be written by the poet Du Fu in your dream? Wang Qingshi asked excitedly, thinking that this master's poetry writing ability is really amazing. This is written by another poet Li Bai in the dream. Summer Junan touched the back of his head a little embarrassedly, thinking to himself, what I said is true. Li Bai? I've never heard of him again. This is Du Fu and Li Bai, and there is more than one master behind him. According to the lifelong experience of the old masters in the literary world, being able to write a famous poem for a lifetime is already the limit for a genius poet. But now there is a second famous poem that can be passed down through the ages, which is definitely not the work of one person. Can't this young man really reveal the location of the master and lead us to meet him? The masters have already reversed their initial questioning attitude and asked beggingly. Masters, it is really what I saw in my dream, and I can't see it in reality. Zhuan, who was standing aside, was also a little anxious when he saw this situation. As a person in the literary world, how could he not want to see the real author after hearing and seeing two masterpieces in a short period of time? But it is obvious that this handsome man will not reveal the situation. Thinking of this, Zhuan suddenly came up with a plan, thinking that it would be better to play a long game to catch a big fish, so that open questioning would definitely not get any results. So he stepped forward past the old masters. Mr. Junan, how about this? Let's stop here today. Let's not talk about the dream. I have a suggestion. The prize for looking at the mountain is 100,000 yuan. Quiet Night Thoughts is also a rare masterpiece. I'll make the decision. How about giving you 100,000 yuan for this one? Now it was Xia Junan's turn to be shocked. The organizer of this poetry competition was so rich and generous. Of course, there is no problem. Xia Junan's mouth corners were raised excitedly, and he almost drooled. He controlled his mentality in time and didn't collapse. Zhang Hafeng and Wang Qingxia thought Zuan was crazy. No matter what, he couldn't do this. Although the poetry competition was not short of money, this money was not given by the wind. The two quickly pulled Zuan aside and whispered. Each person can only submit one poem. You are breaking the rules by giving two first prizes. It's okay, you don't have to worry about the money. I think it's too little. The two elders were even more confused after hearing this. Our goal is to find the master behind this handsome young man. In this case, we must establish long-term cooperation with him. During this period, we will mobilize our connections in China to secretly follow him for a while. It is not necessarily that the master behind him will never contact him. We can always find clues. Why worry about not finding the real poet? Besides, it is too little to give such a famous poem through the ages 100,000. This level of poetry is priceless. Well, not bad, not bad. Or we are old and don't think things through. Xiaozue, you are right. We are also people who have studied poetry and literature for a lifetime. How can we still be so vulgar? Really? After speaking, Zuan turned around and walked to Xia Junan again and called the bank manager directly to ask for another 100,000 to be transferred to Xia Junan. This time, a total of 200,000 soon arrived in Xia Junan's bank card. Xia Junan was even more happy to see that the money had been received. Seeing that it was almost lunchtime, he promptly proposed to leave first. Zuan understood what he meant. He knew that the other party was a young man after all and didn't want to be so restrained when having dinner with a group of old people. Seeing the scorching sun outside, he proposed to send Xia Junan back personally. In fact, Zuan's purpose was to find out where the other party lived first so that it would be easier to follow up. Xia Junan also saw that Zuan still had something to say to him, so he gladly accepted the proposal. Zuan soon made another call, and a Lamborghini stopped at the gate of the ancient courtyard. The two said goodbye to their masters and got in the car. In the car, Zuan spoke again. Mr. Junan, I have a suggestion. How about you cooperate with our poetry competition? How to cooperate? Xia Junan was also curious. If you dream of other poems at night, can you continue to send tickets to our poetry competition? The price is negotiable. The prize can be given according to the quality of the poem. The minimum is 100,000 and there is no upper limit. In addition, if the traffic is large, we will give you a share of the traffic revenue. How about 30% to 70%? You get 70% and we get 30% for the poetry competition. Okay. But I have an idea. Oh? Mr. Junan, please go ahead. Now the data of the poetry competition, Wang Yu, has become a data giant far exceeding other entries. I hope to use different aliases to publish different poems to compete with it and form a greater discussion. As a soul who has lived on Earth for more than 40 years, Xia Junan knows how to make it more popular. Zuan nodded repeatedly after hearing this, thinking that he is worthy of being the spokesperson of the peerless master. This idea is amazing. The two talked a lot about the details of the cooperation. After reaching a consensus, Zuan remembered the invitation from the strongest voice of China to him and looked at the person next to him and thought that it would be better to invite him to watch it together, so as to enhance understanding. Mr. Junan, I want to invite you to watch the competition at the China's Strongest Voice in 3 days. This time, because of the explosive traffic of our poetry competition, China's Strongest Voice changed the theme temporarily to take advantage of our popularity, because your poems made us proud after so many years of silence. This. Xia Junan hesitated a little. After all, Zhang Yaoyao also participated in this China's Strongest Voice, and he didn't really want to see her. Zuan saw his hesitation and directly used his big move. Please be sure to attend, Mr. Junan, we are given the best seats in the middle, other audiences can't sit there even if they pay. And this is my sincerity, please look at my prestige. Zuan picked up his mobile phone and operated it to transfer the red envelope directly. In front of the mysterious master and the poem, money is nothing. With the sound of the mobile wallet, Xia Junnan clicked on the red envelope, 50,000 yuan. As soon as he saw the hesitation, it was swept away. Even if he saw his ex-wife Zhang Yao Yao, what would it matter? He would just be an audience and the other party might not see him. Okay, I agree. Thank you, Brother Zhua. But Brother Zhua, I have another request. Please don't expose my real identity, okay? Xia Junnan wants to make a fortune quietly. If netizens know who he is, wouldn't there be thousands of women like Zhang Yao Yao who would pay attention to him? It's scary to think about it. That's no problem. I have the same idea. Zhuan thought that the mysterious master must not show up because he doesn't want to be disturbed. He would not be so stupid as to expose the master's spokesperson. Wouldn't it be more difficult to see the master? After the two sides negotiated, the car drove to the gate of Xingfu Villa community. The two got off the car, and Zhuan sent Xia Junnan to the door. In the other house, Luo Yuqing and her agent Zhao Wan saw the conspicuous Lamborghini through the window in the living room. Chapter 11 Suspected of being kept. Hey, Yuqing, look, those two people are walking towards our house. Is that the landlord you mentioned? Zhao Wan pointed to the Lamborghini and the handsome guy with a striking appearance and asked. Yeah, that's him. With Luo Yuqing's affirmative answer, Zhao Wan showed a look of understanding. Before you said that this landlord would not have any thoughts about you, I didn't quite believe it, but now I believe it. Sister Wan, what do you mean by this? Luo Yuqing asked in confusion. Everything seems normal these days. I suspect that you, the landlord, are being kept by the bespectacled uncle next door. Sister Wan, why do you think so? These two men. Luo Yuqing opened her mouth and eyes wide, looking at Zhao Wan in surprise. Sister Wan, is it possible that they are relatives, friends, partners, or some other relationship? Yuqing, what kind of relationship do these two men have to be so close to each other, and even drive a Lamborghini to send him to the door? The reason why Zhao Wan said this was that Zhuan outside patted Xia Junan's shoulder when he wanted to get closer to him and talk to him. From a distance, they seemed particularly close because of the angle and line of sight. After hearing what Zhao Wan said, it seemed like a psychological hint. Luo Yuqing looked at it again and it seemed like it was really the case. Think carefully, which man would be called indecent when being pounced on by a woman? Luo Yuqing blushed and muttered softly. Yuqing, what are you talking about? Nothing, I'm saying no wonder this landlord can live in such a big house even though he doesn't go to work every day. After seeing this, the two began to judge that a tall and handsome man so young, living in a large flat without going to work, and being sent back by a luxury car, looks like this. Yuqing, you are still so simple in your bones, how can you not think of this level? Which man will ignore you? Either you are hanging on the wall without breathing, or you are this kind of abnormal orientation. If you don't have a strong sense of self-protection and are unwilling to yield, you would have married a rich man long ago. Sure enough, the old Jiang who sees the problem very clearly, Luo Yuqing cast a look of understanding to Zhao Wan. Hurry, let's stop looking, your landlord is coming to open the door, let's go back to your room. After the two saw the people outside say goodbye to each other, Xia Junnan had already reached the password door and started to press the password. They tiptoed back to the room, and just as they reached the door of the room, the password door outside opened. Xia Junnan saw them the moment he opened the door. They turned back and greeted him awkwardly. Hi. Hello. Hi. Brother Junnan, you're back. Although the two looked very different, they showed the same awkward expression. Luo Yuqing changed the way she addressed Xia Junnan and smiled at him. Yes, Luo Yuqing, what's that expression? Xia Junnan asked seriously. Also, why did you suddenly call me brother? We're not familiar with each other. No, nothing, my friend and I will go into the room first and won't disturb you. Xia Junnan saw that it was so abnormal, and this woman brought her friends with her. He suddenly suspected that Luo Yuqing had done something bad in his house. In his opinion, it was more like an expression of unwillingness to write an IOU. Wait, don't rush back to the room, I have something to ask you. Luo Yuqing was stunned, thinking that this landlord was really inconsiderate. Did she show too much? Was she discovered that they found out that he was being kept? Okay. Seeing this, the two retreated to the living room. I'm more than 1 meter away from you. Luo Yuqing emphasized. Did you break anything in the house? No. Wait a minute, I'll check the whole thing first. After saying this, Summer Junan began a detailed inspection, and it took a long time before he stopped. There was indeed no problem, so he couldn't understand the other party's transformation. If you can't figure it out, don't think about it first. I finished the inspection, sorry for the misunderstanding. He still looked at her with a cold face, but his attitude was much more relaxed. After Luo Yuqing knew the other party's special situation, she was much more tolerant of him, even if this attitude made her feel okay. Oh, then let's go back to the room. Oh, by the way, let me introduce this to my friend and agent Zhao Wan. Actually, I've thought about it. I'll only be here for a month. There's no need for us to be so aggressive every time we meet, right? Summer Junan thought about it and it was the same. Even if this woman really had some intentions, she couldn't get anything out of a month. Besides, he wasn't a piece of wood. He could just deal with any clues he found. Since you said that, okay, but I'll declare that the debt is always valid. After saying this, Summer Junan seemed to relax a lot. It's not a good thing to always be on guard when living under the same roof. Okay, no problem. I'll pay it back when I have the chance. Then I'll go back to the room. Wait, Zhao Wan spoke again at this time. What's wrong? What's wrong? The two looked at Zhao Wan at the same time and asked impatiently in unison. That, when I saw you, I suddenly had some ideas. Mr. Xia, have you ever thought about being an artist? I am the agent of Huanrui Entertainment. I can take you to the company for a try. Part of Zhao Wan's job as an agent is to be a scout to discover new talents with potential. Seeing Summer Junan's appearance, he couldn't help but ask. Mr. Xia, your appearance is very good. I have been in the industry for so many years and have never seen a male star with such superior temperament as you. Are you interested? Not interested. Summer Junan thought that during the years when he lost his memory, he thought about devoting himself to love. After recovering his memory, he would make money and would not be so troublesome to become a star. Besides, Zhang Yao Yao of Huanrui Entertainment is also signed in it. He really doesn't want to go. If he goes, he will inevitably meet her. Well, okay, I just ask, this is my business card, you can find me if you need it in the future. Although Zhao Wan was rejected, he still politely took out his business card and gave it to Summer Junan. Sister Wan, now we can go back to the room. Okay, har har. The two finally returned to the room. Summer Junan felt a little tired after a day of tossing and turning on the TV to watch casually. Although this agent Zhao Wan was not good looking, Summer Junan did not dislike him. What made him curious was that a beautiful woman like Luo Yuqing could get along well with ordinary or even ugly people of the same sex. He remembered that Zhang Yao Yao used to be very concerned about appearance. Whether it was for men or women, going with Liu Dalong was also a sacrifice for the future. In the other room, Sister Wan, he has been kept by someone, and it is unlikely that he wants to become an artist. Why are you still asking him? Try it, what if one day he wants to pass? After all, he is a man, and it is not ruled out that he will be full of career ambition one day. Okay. Just when Luo Yuqing was about to continue discussing the song selection with Zhao Wan's phone suddenly rang. Hello? What? The competition date has been moved forward. Chapter 12, China's Strongest Voice Semi-Finals. After receiving the notification, Zhao Wan immediately hung up the phone, turned around and told Luo Yuqing with a serious face. The rematch of The Voice of China will be moved forward to 3 days later. Is it because of the popularity of the poetry competition? Luo Yuqing was already numb with despair. She was determined not to accept the unspoken rules, and when she saw this situation, she wanted to just lie down. That's right. It is said that the number of visitors to various famous mountain scenic spots has increased greatly due to the popularity of the poem, Viewing the Mountain. The popularity online is still rising. The program team is probably impatient and afraid that it will be too late to catch up with the popularity. Also, now all the pop songs we choose have been changed to ancient-style songs. We have to choose a song that is easy to sing to deal with it. Zhao Wan said this in a serious manner, and Luo Yuqing suddenly relaxed. This way, there should be more people participating in The Voice than originally expected. In addition to the large number of amateurs who participated in the auditions, there will also be various first and second tier celebrities participating. Originally, The Voice of China was just a competition in a professional field, but with the current popularity of the collaboration between the two sides, more people have joined in the fun and the competition has become more intense. Sister Juan, whatever, I'll just pick a song I like first, and as for the original song that's going to be in the top 10, I've decided to just give up. If there was a slight chance of making it to the top 10 before, now even singing someone else's song may not make it to the semi-finals. I've decided to take responsibility for everything. After the semi-finals, I'll go to the streets to sing. I don't have to worry about having too much debt. Even if I can't pay it back, what can the company do to me? After Luo Yuqing figured it out, she was no longer anxious. Instead, Zhao Wan looked at her with worry. At night, Luo Yuqing, who was supposed to be thinking hard in the room, took Zhao Wan out shopping. Although she didn't have much money left, she decided to enjoy herself. Because Zhao Wan had children to take care of, he and Luo Yuqing parted ways later. After playing for a long time, Luo Yuqing returned to the large flat and had a good sleep. She suddenly felt that living in the present was the most important thing. She just had to do her best in other things. She had forced herself to do so before. At the same time, Summer Junan also posted Quiet Night Thoughts again on the poetry competition website under a different pen name. Soon it was 3 days later. As a contestant, Luo Yuqing got up early because the western suburbs were too far from the city center, so she had to wash and dress up. I had a simple breakfast early and hurried out. She arrived at the entrance of China's strongest voice at 9 in the morning, and Zhao Wan was already waiting for her there. Sister Juan, I'm here. Come, I'll go in with you. We have to get a number for rehearsal later. If there is any emergency on the scene, I can take care of you. Yeah, okay. The recording of China's Got Talent officially started at 8 o'clock in the evening, but because there were too many contestants this time, there were many more people in the semi-finals, and rehearsals had to be scheduled from morning to night. To save trouble, the number drawn in the rehearsal is the time for the official live recording in the evening. Entering the live stage from the outside gate, the contestants were waiting in the audience seats, and the live stage lighting equipment had already been debugged and prepared. Dozens of contestants in the semi-finals drew lots one by one, lined up, and sat in the audience seats according to their numbers in sequence. This would increase the speed as much as possible and not waste too much time. Luo Yuqing drew the note and opened it. The number was in the middle, so it wasn't too late. She had plenty of time and could prepare herself. She walked to her seat in the auditorium and saw a familiar face sitting next to her. It's you? Zhang Yaoyao turned around and saw that the person behind her was Luo Yuqing. They were actually going to sit together. How could she endure queuing for so long? Yeah. It's me, so what? Luo Yuqing was not polite when she saw her, because the two of them had a grudge against each other because of Liu Dalong's matter. After all, Liu Dalong had to ask Zhang Yaoyao for help, so Zhang Yaoyao was naturally furious. Zhang Yaoyao hoped to further enhance her fame and status through this China's Got Talent competition, so she dressed up elegantly. Wearing a bright red tight miniskirt, she stood out among all the contestants. Luo Yuqing, you did this on purpose, didn't you? Are you thinking that you missed the big dragon and want to save the situation? That's right. After all, you don't have any representative works. You are just an 18th tier star who relies solely on your looks. How can you survive without a backer? Humph, but it's too late now. I don't have the ability to repay my noble character, so I deserve to be in this situation. Zhang Yaoyao came up and started scolding him in a domineering manner. Luo Yuqing retorted without losing face. Yes, I am an 18th tier star, but no matter what the reason, we are sitting together now, right? Besides, I don't regret rejecting Liu Dalong. But, Zhang Yaoyao, don't you feel sick every time you see Liu Dalong's fat face? If I were you, I wouldn't be able to kiss that face even if a knife was held to my chest. You? Zhang Yaoyao was speechless for a moment and her face turned pale with anger. Seeing that the other party was defeated, Luo Yuqing sat down next to him neatly. Luo Yuqing's outfit was relatively simple and pure, she was only wearing a light blue shirt and white shorts. The two people's clothes, one red and one blue, form a sharp contrast, just like a red rose and a blue rose, so pleasing to the eye. Time passed quickly in the hurried rehearsal, and as night fell, it was almost time for the official competition. As waves of real audience members officially entered the venue, the contestants took turns to sing. The on-site host continued to warm up the atmosphere and the competition officially began. As the participating first-line celebrities and singers had tight schedules, they did not draw lots for numbers. Instead, they lined up at the front according to their status and went on stage. The first-line stars came on stage first, so the audience was naturally lively and the atmosphere was active. Summer Junan and Junan naturally moved to the center of the audience. After listening to several first-line stars singing, Summer Junan actually began to doze off. For him, a person who already had memories of his past life, listening to the songs of these stars from Blue Planet was somewhat polluting to his ears. It was really not as good as the songs on Earth. After many rounds of contestants went on stage, Summer Junan slowly woke up and saw Zhang Yaoyao going on stage to sing. Zhang Yaoyao obviously also saw him in the audience, because he was sitting in a VIP seat which was very conspicuous, and people on the stage could easily see him. Zhang Yaoyao was obviously stunned for a moment, then she immediately adjusted herself and started singing. The sexy voice and music really livened up the atmosphere. In the semi-finals, 3,000 audience members will give scores to decide the top 20. The first-tier stars naturally don't have to worry about it, but it's mainly the third-tier and fourth-tier stars with average fame, and those who are behind. Zhang Yaoyao felt more confident after seeing the audience's reaction. After finishing the song, she bowed and left the stage. We'd like to invite the next contestant to the stage. Following their host's voice, Luo Yuqing, who was standing at the back, walked towards the stage. At this moment, Zhang Yaoyao, who passed by her, looked at her with a smirk on her face, and at an angle that no one could see, she deliberately tripped forward. With a click, Luo Yuqing was tripped to the ground. As luck would have it, all the stage lights and flashes were focused on Luo Yuqing. Chapter 13, Unexpected Promotion. Luo Yuqing felt pain and screamed subconsciously, then raised her head and looked awkwardly at the audience seats full of spectators. One could clearly hear the 3,000 spectators murmuring when they saw her fall and embarrass herself. What's wrong with this singer? Is he too nervous to go on stage? But she's so pretty, she didn't fall down on purpose to get sympathy, did she? Needless to say, she was so nervous that she fell down. She is just a vase. She must be some rich man's mistress who got in through the back door. Hearing this, Luo Yuqing was furious. She held the microphone with her left hand and supported herself with her right hand to stand up. Zhao Wan in the audience was sweating profusely. Although it was certain that they would not be able to advance and were just struggling to survive, Zhao Wan, as their agent, still felt terrified when he saw such an obvious stage accident, even though he had done enough psychological preparation beforehand. Zhang Yaoyao, who had already walked to the other side of the stage, looked at her and felt secretly happy. You are just an 18th-tier unknown celebrity, and you dare to openly oppose me. You really don't want to be in this world anymore. Let's see how you end up now. Luo Yuqing also turned around and glared at Zhang Yaoyao. It was obvious that Zhang Yaoyao did it on purpose to make her embarrassed and suffer in silence. Looking at the situation now, she decided to just go for it. She quickly adjusted herself and stood up from the ground. Her clothes and black hair were a little messy because of the fall. I made up my mind that since I had no chance of advancing, there was no point in singing the song I had prepared during the rehearsal. I might as well change the song temporarily. Even if it went wrong, maybe it could still attract some attention. Then, Luo Yuqing stood in the center of the stage and began to sing a modern lyrical song. The style of the song was very consistent with her clean temperament. Although her singing skills were mediocre, she surprised the audience and immersed them in her sweet voice and affectionate eyes. This kind of charm is far beyond the common sexiness of Zhang Yaoyao. Soon the song ended, Luo Yuqing bowed deeply and walked off the stage. To her surprise, there was continuous applause from the audience. Seeing that time was running out, the host didn't say too many connecting words and the next contestant came on stage quickly. Luo Yuqing, who finally breathed a sigh of relief, turned around to talk to Zhao Wan, but belatedly noticed Summer Junan sitting in the audience. I, the landlord, can actually sit in the VIP seat. Did you see that? Next to him is the sponsor who supports him. It seems that the identity of this sponsor is not simple. Zhao Wan also followed her gaze and looked at the audience, and saw Summer Junan at a glance. These VIP seats are not something you can buy with money. They are only available to specially invited guests. I heard that the one invited this time is the organizer of the poetry competition. What? My landlord is so powerful that he can actually hook up with a big shot of this rank. Luo Yuqing looked at Zwen next to Summer Junan with surprise. Although the poetry competition has been tepid for many years, only core figures in the literary world can host it, which is not on the same level as the ordinary rough guys. At this moment, Summer Junan also felt a burning gaze directed at him, and subconsciously looked towards the contestant waiting area below the stage. He originally thought that the person looking at him might be his ex-wife, but turned out to be his beautiful tenant. So he made a face at her, and immediately changed to an expressionless look and watched the stage performance. What a guy! Why does he make faces when he sees me? Is it so difficult to smile normally? Luo Yuqing was also speechless, but she was a little surprised that his landlord had such a childish side. Yuqing, you still have the mood to pay attention to these things? You just changed the song at the last minute. I don't know if there is any hope of advancing this time. Zhao Wan still couldn't help but worry. Sister Wan, it's already like this now, there's really no point in worrying. Besides, this is the top 20, so there are still quite a lot of people, maybe it can be done. Yuqing, since I met you, I found that your greatest strength is your over-optimism. Zhao Wan also sighed deeply. How could he have ended up with such an artist? He was actually moved by her character and decided to help her. Thinking of this, Zhao Wan began to doubt whether his decision to continue to accompany the other party was right or not. Should he still choose to passively turn a blind eye as he did at the beginning? On the other side, Zhang Yaoyao was also wondering why Summer Junan was sitting in the VIP seat. Based on her understanding of him, he would not be able to find a job after his divorce. As a former top student in the music department, it was unlikely that he would lower himself to do those undignified jobs, but he could not apply for ordinary jobs. But now he is sitting in the VIP seat with the bigwigs in the literary world. How does he know people in the literary circle? Zhang Yaoyao was puzzled and couldn't figure out the reason. In her opinion, it was impossible for an unemployed vagrant like Summer Junan to know high-end bosses who were several levels above him. The weird thing is that the possibility that the other party was being kept by a big shot actually flashed through Zhang Yaoyao's mind, but because he was her ex-husband, she quickly rejected this idea in her heart. Wait, Summer Junan seemed to be interacting with Luo Yuqing just now. Do they know each other? While both sides were distracted, the singers behind them finished singing one after another, and then it was time for the 3,000 audience members to vote. After a long period of statistical data, the list of the top 20 candidates was finally compiled and announced by the host on stage. Because of the participation of first and second tier stars, the top 5 places are actually reserved for these big stars, which means that the remaining 15 places are for third tier and below singers. Of course, rankings also have advantages depending on the star's status. Third tier stars like Zhang Yaoyao still have a great advantage. With the announcement of the list of hosts, it is no surprise that they are basically ranked according to their status. Even if it is a vote by the audience, as long as the stars do not make any mistakes when singing, there will be no problem in the ranking. When everyone sings similarly, the more famous a person is, the more votes the audience will get, simply because the audience comes to see the performance because they have more fans. To put it bluntly, artists like Luo Yuqing who are not even 18th tier artists can be called stars and are just cannon fodder. After all, Zhang Yaoyao's performance on stage was acceptable, and she had previously asked Liu Dalong to take care of the program team. With 3,000 people voting, it would be possible to secretly change a few numbers. Soon the host announced that Zhang Yaoyao ranked 10th, which was not too far away from the first line stars in front. Such a ranking would be very beneficial for the final after qualifying. As the names corresponding to the rankings were called out one by one and everyone came up to the stage to express their gratitude, Luo Yuqing and Zhao Wan silently lowered their heads. They both thought at the same time, there is really no hope. Okay, now I will announce the name of the last contestant who will advance to the top 20. She is. Their host stretched out his voice to keep the audience in suspense, and seeing that the mood was right, he quickly announced the list. She is Luo Yuqing. What? Their whole audience was shocked. She clearly went off topic. How could it be? Zhang Yaoyao widened her eyes in surprise. Even if there was a last place winner, she didn't want that person to be Luo Yuqing to advance. Chapter 14 The misunderstanding widens. Me? When Luo Yuqing heard her own name, she was completely stunned and couldn't react for a moment. Luo Yuqing, please come on stage. Luo Yuqing. Their host shouted again on the stage somewhat awkwardly. Luo Yuqing finally reacted and went on stage to express her gratitude briefly. After stepping off the stage again, the host announced the end of the qualifying round and explained that the final for the top 20 would be held in 3 days. I knew that you, Yuqing, must sing in person. That's great that you can advance. Zhao Wan swept away his previous worried state and said something very hindsightfully. Luo Yuqing felt that she was still immersed in a dream and pinched her thigh hard. This isn't a dream. At this time, the audience also started talking. I didn't vote for her. I voted. Why vote for her? She's off topic. You should choose related ancient style songs. I don't care about these, I just look at the on-site effect. Apparently, quite a number of viewers were moved by Luo Yuqing's beauty and the atmosphere she created when singing, and voted for her. Although the program team requires each contestant to prepare songs with ancient themes, fortunately it is based on audience voting, so there is a certain degree of variability. Luo Yuqing's unexpected performance attracted considerable attention. In fact, all contestants who make it to the semi-finals, whether they are famous artists or not, are decent at singing. It's just that fame and attention play a big factor. Except for the top-tier celebrities who sing their own famous songs, everyone else's songs are similar. It's not about whether the singing is good or not, but there are no songs that can attract people. Of course, judging from the discussions on the spot, more male audiences voted for Luo Yuqing. In Xia Junan's opinion, although Luo Yuqing's performance on stage was full of loopholes and her singing was not that good, her performance was still much more interesting than other people singing those boring crappy songs. Mr. Junan, do you know this contestant Luo Yuqing? Xuan, who was sitting in another VIP seat, could clearly see the facial expressions between Xia Junan and Luo Yuqing. Yes, she is my tenant. Xia Junan thought that since he was going to have long-term cooperation with Xuan in the future, there was nothing to hide about his situation. Oh. I see. Xuan had an understanding look on his face, thinking that with such a beautiful tenant, the situation of these two people must be unusual. The last time I sent Xia Junan off, I learned from casual conversation that he only has that one house in the western suburbs. It is obvious that this so-called tenant lives with him. It would be abnormal for a handsome man and a beautiful woman to live under the same roof without a special relationship. He felt that he was getting closer to Xia Junan, and he thought that if things continued like this, the real mastermind behind the scenes would be found out soon. Brothers Wu, the show is over, let's go. Oh, okay. Xuan was stunned for a moment. He thought that the other party would find an excuse to go to the backstage dressing room to find Luo Yuqing, but he didn't expect him to leave as if nothing had happened. He thought about it and understood instantly. This contestant caused such a big discussion at the scene today. If someone saw such a conspicuous handsome guy going to see her, their relationship would definitely be exposed. After thinking the whole thing through, he followed Xia Junan and left as if nothing had happened. In the women's dressing room backstage, there were more than a dozen female contestants. Some were packing their things, some were removing their makeup, and some were changing their clothes. After all, it was a busy day. Regardless of whether they passed the promotion or not, no one was in the mood to talk at this moment. Everyone just wanted to pack up and go back to rest. But suddenly a fiery red figure rushed in and ran straight towards Luo Yuqing, who was about to change clothes. You vixen, I gave you some color and you opened a dying room. Zhang Yao came over aggressively and was about to slap Luo Yuqing. However, Luo Yuqing quickly stopped her and shook her hand away. Zhang Yao, who are you talking about, vixen? The vixen is talking about you. You yourself admitted that you are a vixen. Everyone, be my witness. Har, the people on the side who like to watch the fun are laughing. Seeing someone coming to cause trouble, everyone becomes energetic. After a tiring day, watching the fun can also relieve fatigue. You are cheating. Zhang Yao, who reacted quickly, felt like she was choking on breath. The other party's calm reaction made her feel like she was punching cotton. Cheating? Humph, who is cheating? You tripped me up on purpose when I was on stage before, and I haven't even come to settle the score with you yet, but you're here to find me first. Luo Yuqing was really speechless about Zhang Yao. Zhang Yao immediately hit back. You said I was the one who got you into trouble, where's the evidence? You deliberately stole the limelight and fell down. You are really scheming. However, let's see what you will do in 3 days. You still can't escape this sky-high penalty. I don't believe you can make it to the top 10, let alone the top 3. Even if you pass this round, you're just struggling to death. What happens to me in the end has nothing to do with you. I'm leaving, please get out of the way, Luo Yuqing replied coldly. Etc. You all go out first, I have something to ask Luo Yuqing. Zhang Yaoyao spoke to everyone. Knowing that she had the financial sponsor Liu Dalong as her backer, everyone did not dare to offend her and left the locker room honestly. Only Zhao Huan didn't go out. Seeing Zhang Yaoyao's angry look, she thought she should stay and watch over her to make sure nothing unexpected happened. Zhang Yaoyao never took this unsophisticated and marginal figure seriously, so when she saw that she didn't leave, she just let her do it. If you have anything to say, just say it. It's getting late, please speak quickly. Let me ask you, do you know Summer Junan? I saw him greeting you in the audience just now. Zhang Yaoyao's sudden question caught Luo Yuqing and Zhao Huan beside her by surprise. What they didn't expect was that these two people who had nothing in common could actually know each other. Yes, that's right, I know him. Why? Does my knowing someone bother you? Luo Yuqing pondered for a moment and suddenly realized. Oh, I see. You two were not a couple before, were you? Don't talk nonsense. Zhang Yaoyao was a little flustered. Not many people knew that she had an ex-husband. Fortunately, Luo Yuqing only thought that they were once lovers and did not think of them as husband and wife. The more flustered she was, the more Luo Yuqing was convinced that they might have once been a couple, and subconsciously she wanted to piss her off even more. We live together now, how do you feel? No, he won't be that fast, this is impossible, Zhang Yaoyao couldn't believe it. I can see that you are a woman who is always looking for more. It's not enough to be with Liu Dalong, you are still thinking about handsome guys. Luo Yuqing further provoked with words. Zhao Huan, who was standing by, so that the sparks between the two were growing stronger and stronger. He thought that if he angered Zhang Yaoyao again, she might find someone to retaliate against them more severely. In order to protect his own safety, he quickly stepped forward to smooth things over. Yuqing, stop talking nonsense. Sister Yaoyao, Yuqing is just Summer Junan's tenant, they don't have any relationship. Humph, you say there is no such thing. Where is the evidence? Sister Yaoyao, I think you may not have contacted Mr. Summer Junan for a long time, Zhao Huan said seriously. He is now with a big shot in the literary world. Sister Yaoyao came to question us. She must have seen him sitting in the VIP seat today. I don't need to say more about what kind of person can sit in that position. What? Is it true? Zhang Yaoyao seemed to have confirmed her guess and suddenly felt mixed emotions. Could it be that my ex-husband was so traumatized by the divorce that he even changed his sexual orientation? In the large flat in the western suburbs on the other side, Summer Junan, who was drinking a glass of wine in the living room, suddenly sneezed loudly. Who the hell is cursing me behind my back? Chapter 15 Zhang Yaoyao's difficulties. By the way, if you were a couple before, you two are a good match. After all, you are both good at hooking up with rich men, har har har. Luo Yuqing seized the opportunity and started to provoke him with words again. Luo Yuqing you. Zhang Yaoyao picked up the phone and threw it at Luo Yuqing in frustration. As expected, Luo Yuqing dodged it nimbly. Sister Huan, please leave. This dressing room, I'll give it to you first. You can change your clothes slowly here, I'll leave first. Leaving Zhang Yaoyao, who was extremely angry, behind, the two of them quickly packed their things and walked out of the locker room. When I got to the door, I found that all the people who had been kicked out of the locker room were peeking through the door. However, due to the distance, they couldn't hear clearly what they were saying. But just seeing the tense situation between the two sides from afar was enough for them to gossip. It was already late at night and there were no pedestrians on the road. At the entrance of China's strongest voice building, I saw Liu Dalong, who was wearing a very rustic yet branded outfit, walking towards me. After the recording was over, he came to pick up Zhang Yaoyao, but happened to meet Luo Yuqing, who was walking out of the door and trying to get a taxi. Hey, it's Yuqing. TSK, honestly, are you really not going to consider being my woman again? Look at you, such a beautiful woman, and now you have to take a taxi. If you had followed me, you wouldn't have to suffer this. Liu Dalong. It's you? Luo Yuqing looked up and saw that it was Liu Dalong. She thought to herself that it was the middle of the night and what she feared would come true. Liu Dalong, you already have Zhang Yaoyao, and your relationship is now an open secret in the circle. Please respect yourself. So what? As a man, having a few female confidants is nothing. The worst that can happen is that after we are together, you just don't see each other and don't interfere with each other. Well, if you figure it out, you can come to me anytime. Guanrue's debt will be gone. Liu Dalong proposed shamelessly. If Luo Yuqing hadn't been accompanied by an agent, he would have approached her directly. Liu Dalong, I'll say it again, I don't want to, Luo Yuqing replied firmly. Just at this moment a taxi drove over, and Luo Yuqing and Zhao Huan quickly got in the car. As the taxi drove away into the darkness, Liu Dalong turned and walked towards the glass sensor door. TSK, in this world, there are still such stupid women with such stubborn brains. It's really a waste of her face. Liu Dalong shook his head in confusion, and quickly went outside the women's locker room and picked up his phone to call Zhang Yao Yao. Are you all right, dear? Okay, I'll be right there. After hanging up the phone quickly, Liu Dalong felt emotional that this person was easier to serve, but he still felt a little itchy when he thought of Luo Yuqing. Dalong, here I come. Zhang Yao Yao quickly came to Liu Dalong, and the two walked out arm in arm. After getting in the car, Zhang Yao Yao pretended to be unhappy. Why are you unhappy, dear? Da Long, Luo Yuqing has also passed the promotion round. So what? You have to make it into the top 10 in the final 3 days later. She will be eliminated soon. Haven't we already invited all the famous lyricists and composers in the industry to come here for you? When it comes to original songs, you're still way ahead of the others. How can a mere 18th tier girl like Luo Yuqing be compared to you? Liu Dalong immediately comforted him. In fact, Zhang Yao Yao has many writers helping her write songs, so she is not worried about not being able to produce good songs in the finals. She just can't swallow this anger and doesn't want to see Luo Yuqing. Da Long, can't you think of a way to get rid of her as the 20th place? Does she have to be there? Yao Yao, no matter how familiar I am with the top management of the Voice of China, I can't get this done. After all, it's the audience voting, and it's not easy to announce the results in public. Dalong, do you still have feelings for her? Zhang Yao Yao was blocked repeatedly and was very angry. How could that be? Liu Dalong hurriedly explained. On the other side, Luo Yuqing and Zhao Huan returned to the large flat in the western suburbs. These 2 days were a critical moment, and Zhao Huan decided to stay with Luo Yuqing for 2 nights. We also asked an aunt to come over and help take care of the children at home for 2 days. As it was late at night, Summer Junan had already returned to his room. The two of them also returned to Luo Yuqing's room, quickly washed up and went to bed, rested well, and prepared to think of ways to create original songs the next day. In fact, Summer Junan in the room couldn't sleep in the middle of the night just because he took a look at the situation of huaxia.com when he came back. Netizens may have never seen such a spectacle. After an author with the pen name Li Marmar uploaded a poem called Quiet Night Thoughts, netizens on huaxia.com went crazy about it. Originally, Viewing the Mountain was the only poem that won the poetry competition. As a result, Quiet Night Thoughts came out of nowhere, and as Summer Junan had expected, netizens quickly split into 2 groups. One group was fans of the handsome guy, and the other group was fans of Aunt Li. The heated discussion between the 2 sides on the 2 poems attracted more attention. Looking at popular platforms such as Douyin and Xiaohongshu, the hot searches for the day had already firmly ranked first, and Summer Junan also received several bank card mobile phone message notifications. That's right, as the traffic increased, money continued to flow into his card. Summer Junan had never seen so much money in his hands in such a short time in his 2 lifetimes combined. It would be strange if he could sleep calmly. At the same time, the villa in the city center. Grandpa, are you saying that you have already met Mr. Handsome? And now he has created another pseudonym to compete with himself. Dudu stared at Wang Qingshe with his eyes as big as copper bells in surprise. Wang Qingshe knew that his grandson was very concerned about Junan's situation, so he did not hide it. Several old masters of Gufeng Courtyard are aware of the fact that the 2 parties have jointly created another pen name and that no one of them will leak the news. Although Zhuan was the main decision maker, such important matters still had to be informed to the key figures in the literary world. Everyone readily agreed to this approach. After all, in an era where traffic is king, if you want to further develop poetry and songs, you cannot avoid the traffic of these platforms. Grandpa, when can I meet Mr. Junan? Don't worry, grandson. Now you are cooperating with us. How can we not have a chance to see you? So Grandpa, what exactly is the mysterious master behind Mr. Handsome Man like? Dudu asked, still curiously. Your uncle's Wa is already investigating, but maybe he will find it, or maybe he will never find it. Wang Qingshi came to the balcony, looked at the moonlight, and said thoughtfully. The next day, because everyone was very tired from the day before, they all slept until almost noon. It was Summer Junan who ordered the takeout first, and then he went to the living room and shouted through the door to Luo Yuqing to get up and eat. After last night's performance on The Voice of China, Summer Junan felt as if he was a little more familiar with Luo Yuqing. Hearing the sound, Luo Yuqing and Zhao Wan quickly put on their clothes, opened the door and went to the living room. Summer Junan saw that Zhao Wan was also a little surprised, but soon he felt that it was nothing. When they saw the takeout, they started eating without hesitation. Yes, Summer Junan, thank you, you should keep this account for now. Although they still deliberately kept a distance of 1 meter, they spoke more casually. I've already eaten. I'm going back to my room now. Summer Junan didn't know what to say, so he went back to his room. Sister Juan, the finals are coming up soon. I haven't paid attention to the poetry competition yet. It's a good time to take a look now. Luo Yuqing opened her mobile phone and logged into huoxia.com. She saw the pen names of the 2 most popular poets. The movement of chewing food in her mouth became noticeably slower. She was stunned. Chapter 16. It can't be him. Yuqing, what's wrong with you? Why do you look like that? Zhao Wan asked in confusion when he saw her surprised look. Luo Yuqing swallowed the food in her mouth in 1 gulp and drank a sip of mineral water. Sister Juan, have you ever paid attention to this poetry competition before? Well, I'm not usually interested in poetry, so I just took a look when China's strongest voice notified me of the change in the topic. That poem, Looking at the Mountain, that has always topped the list is indeed shocking, but why are you asking this? Are you going to sing this poem into a song? Zhao Wan looked at Luo Yuqing while eating, thinking that she was really being pushed into a corner. No, Sister Juan, you haven't visited Huaxia Internet Cafe in the past 2 days. Yeah, haven't you been busy with your work these past 2 days? How could you have the time to read it? What's going on? Is there something strange going on in the poetry competition again? Zhao Wan suddenly seemed to understand something. A poem of the same level as Viewing the Mountain, but of a different genre, has appeared in the poetry competition. It is now being discussed a lot online and has become the #1 trending search on Douyin. Yeah. It's really amazing. There really are masters among the people. 2 king bombs appeared at the same time in this year's poetry competition. It was really unexpected. But you look a little surprised, don't you? These are the 2 pen names. Sister Juan, don't you think they look familiar? After being reminded, Zhao Wan stretched his head to look and indeed found a clue. Alas, if you hadn't told me, I wouldn't have thought of it before. This handsome man has the same pronunciation as your landlord Summer Junan's name, and they just have different characters. You don't suspect that it was your landlord who sent the poem, do you? Zhao Wan saw that her expression seemed to indicate that she was suspicious of the landlord. Junan. After all, they are still too close. Zhao Wan thought that calling someone Junan was a very common thing and it was not an uncommon name. Maybe he was given this name because he was a handsome guy. The key is that the pen name of the other person who competed with this great writer is actually Li Mamar. Sister Juan, do you remember what I told you before? The reason why I mistakenly thought the landlord was a woman was because her username on the rental website was Rong Mamar. Could these 2 pseudonyms be the same person? Or even, both of them? Luo Yuqing expressed her doubts. It was too coincidental that the 2 names appeared at the same time. It was hard for her not to think that it had nothing to do with the landlord. Zhao Wan was also surprised when he heard this. He originally thought that Luo Yuqing was overthinking, but after hearing this analysis, it seemed that there was indeed a problem. The name does sound like your landlord, but 2 of these famous poems have appeared at once, so it's definitely not your landlord. Although I don't know much about the Chinese literary world, I still have some basic common sense. Even if a literary master can write 1 poem like this in his lifetime, it would be a great achievement. These 2 poems with different pen names and styles cannot be written by the same person. The 2 looked at each other, now even more confused. From the perspective of the pen name, it was too coincidental, but from the depth and level of the poem, it was impossible for an unemployed vagrant to write it. What's more, this unemployed vagrant is only in his early 20s. After thinking for a long time, Luo Yuqing suddenly found a new idea. Sister Juan, do you think it could be Mr. Zhuan, the organizer of the poetry competition? You know what, it's really possible. I heard that this person was a literary genius when he was young. Could it be that this Mr. Zhuan suddenly had a burst of inspiration and wrote a famous poem that will be remembered for ages? The two felt that this possibility could not be ruled out. After all, Zhuan was at least in his 40s and had some experience in the past, so it did not seem too unrealistic. I understand. Given their unusual relationship, it's not surprising that Mr. Zhuan used one of these two pen names. Zhao Wan thought this was a reasonable explanation. The reason why she said it was one of them was that in the entire history of Blue Star, no one had ever been able to create two famous poems at the same time. The two masterpieces were released too close to each other, so in their opinion, they could not have been written by the same person. It is said to be a stretch because there has never been such a famous poem in China today. After all, Zhao Wan entered society much earlier than Luo Yuqing. When they talked about this, a plan suddenly came to her mind. Yuqing, I've come up with a solution that's not really a solution. It's about the finals of The Voice of China. Zhao Wan raised his eyebrows excitedly, leaned towards Luo Yuqing and whispered. What method? Luo Yuqing was also curious about what idea came up in her mind. We are now close to each other. I have heard that Mr. Zhuan was not only good at poetry and prose when he was young, but also good at composing lyrics and music. If you can find a way to ask your handsome landlord to help you get his boss to compose an ancient-style song for you, then wouldn't your chances of winning the final round be much better? After all, Zhao Wan had more social experience. She thought that even if the two of them guessed wrong, the identity of the person in charge of the poetry competition organizer was real. If he could ask the other party to write an original song for Luo Yuqing, he might be able to turn his life around. There are actually very few singers in the entertainment industry who can truly create original songs on their own. They either ask others to help them write the lyrics, or they ask others to help them compose the music. As long as the song is finally signed by the singer, the original work belongs to that person. The original works of this year's Got Talent finals are limited to ancient style, which makes it even more difficult. Except for the 5 first-line big names who have top teams writing songs for them, few other singers can come up with good works. As long as they can break into the top 10, even if they end up with a sky-high penalty, at least their popularity will have been raised. Will they still worry about not being able to pay back the money when the traffic increases later? Sister Juan, but I'm not familiar with the landlord. Luo Yuqing almost jumped up from the sofa in the living room when she heard this idea. Yuqing, let's give it a try now. We can't just sit here and wait to die. Sister Juan, but how can I ask this? Besides, my relationship with this landlord is quite tense. He even misunderstood that I was plotting something bad towards him. Luo Yuqing curled her lips in frustration, thinking to herself, what's the big deal? It doesn't matter whether the idea is mentioned or not. Yuqing, have you forgotten Zhang Yao Yao? We can use her as a breakthrough point. Your landlord may be against you, but I think he doesn't want Zhang Yao Yao to have an easy life. If the breakup with Zhang Yao Yao wasn't such a huge blow, would he have changed his orientation? So why not talk to him directly? If it works out, the bonus and traffic revenue can be split in half. I'll think about it again. Luo Yuqing had been persuaded by Zhao Huankuai. Yuqing, you have to think about it quickly. There are only 2 days left after today. Even if they agree by chance, it will take time to come up with the song. Yes, I'll think about it as soon as possible. After dinner, Zhao Wan was worried about his child, so he took some time to take a taxi to the city to see him. Luo Yuqing was having an intense psychological struggle in the room. Soon, the sun was about to set. She had been thinking of waiting for Zhao Wan to come and talk to Summer Junan together. But it seems that Zhao Wan is busy with his children and will probably come very late. Forget it, just die. It's just a conversation with him. It won't cost you a piece of meat. Luo Yuqing made up her mind to walk out of the room, crossed the living room, and came to the door of Summer Junan's room again. She hesitated for a moment, took a deep breath, raised her hand, and knocked on the door hard. Chapter 17 Luo Yuqing's Request. Knocking again. Summer Junan had just gotten up from his room and was about to order takeout for dinner when he heard a knock on the door. There was no doubt who else could be knocking on the door in this house. He knew it was Luo Yuqing who came to see him, and immediately became alert. Knock knock knock. Hey, are you awake? Can you open the door? Luo Yuqing outside the door mustered up the courage to ask loudly. What can I do for you? Xia Junnan thought that he had to ask clearly first. Although he had not discovered any intentions from this beautiful woman in the past 2 days and the relationship had eased a little, it did not mean that he should let down his guard. I have something to talk to you about. With only a door between them, Luo Yuqing was too embarrassed to bring it up directly, and she didn't know how to start. After thinking for a long time, she finally uttered this sentence. Seeing that the other party was hesitant and refused to say anything, Xia Junnan simply tidied up the room and walked to the door to open it, seeing that she was not going to leave for a while. Outside the door, Luo Yuqing heard the footsteps approaching the door and immediately stood straight, fearing that the situation like the first night would happen again. But this time she was wearing her clothes properly, so there was no chance that she would be exposed. There was a click of the door opening, and Xia Junnan, who was wearing pajamas and had messy hair, opened the door. If you have something to say, come in and talk about it. Xia Junnan subconsciously used his left hand to tidy up his hair and stepped aside to let Luo Yuqing enter the room. After all, it was a large flat and the rooms were relatively spacious. There was a glass round table and 2 sofa chairs near the window. The two of them sat opposite each other in a rare tacit understanding. This time, the matter is more urgent, so I'm closer to you. Just remember that I owe you the money. Luo Yuqing emphasized this first, indicating that she has always abided by the rules. Hearing this, Xia Junnan was inexplicably annoyed. Okay, come on, don't waste time, what's the matter? As far as I remember, we have nothing in common except the relationship between landlord and tenant, right? Well, I know you know the person in charge of the organizer of the poetry competition, that's Mr. Zwan. Luo Yuqing lowered her head slightly, looking at Xia Junnan with blinking eyes. You actually know Zwan. Brother Zwa is really famous. I see, you must have noticed Zwan next to me when we went to China's Voice that day, right? But why are you asking him? I know you two are very familiar with each other, so I would like to ask you to help find him. As you know, I participated in the China's Strongest Voice competition, Luo Yuqing continued to reply. I noticed that you were not such a hesitant person before. What's the matter? Can you tell me everything at once? Xia Junnan saw that the other party looked embarrassed and urged him directly. Luo Yuqing took a deep breath, raised her head and sat up straight. Okay, then I'll be frank. I want to ask Mr. Zwan to help me write a song to enter the finals, but now I only know that you know him, and I can see that you have a special relationship, so I ask you to help me make the connection. You can tell that this relationship is not ordinary. And what does your competition have to do with me? Why should I help you? Xia Junnan originally thought that the other person was just after his beauty, but he didn't expect that she was also after his connections. Luo Yuqing thought that Xia Junnan and Zwan were indeed a couple, and their unusual relationship was acknowledged. Yes, that's right. Originally, my competition had nothing to do with you, but, you know Zhang Yao Yao, right? She was the one who caused me to fall that day, so I am a thorn in her side. How do you know I know Zhang Yao Yao? Xia Junnan was very curious. Although he actually saw Zhang Yaoyao's little gesture towards Luo Yuqing in the audience that day, how did Luo Yuqing know that they knew each other? In fact, Xia Junnan didn't mind someone exposing the fact that he and Zhang Yaoyao were divorced. It was Zhang Yaoyao who minded. After all, he was an unknown person, but out of moral obligation, he would not take the initiative to mention his past with Zhang Yaoyao to others. Zhang Yaoyao admitted in the dressing room backstage that day that you two were in a relationship. It's obvious that she dumped you. Are you going to just watch her advance to the finals? Why should I mind? Since you already know that we broke up a long time ago and are like strangers, why should I bother her again? Seeing that Luo Yuqing didn't know the true relationship between him and Zhang Yaoyao, Xia Junnan followed her words and politely refused. Luo Yuqing was dumbfounded. She had clearly agreed with Zhao Huan to use Zhang Yaoyao as a bargaining chip. After all, she must have hated a handsome guy to the point of misogyny and changing his sexual orientation. However, she didn't expect that he no longer minded his ex. Luo Yuqing's eyes moved rapidly, and her brain quickly thought about how to persuade the other party to help. After a moment. Brother Xia, Brother Junnan. Please help me. If I can't get into the top 10 in this competition, I won't be able to pay the sky-high penalty. I really couldn't think of any good solution. I remembered that there is a saying that sincerity is the nirvana, so I had to tell the other party my current true situation, regardless of whether the other party believed it or not. Of course, coupled with her pitiful expression, Luo Yuqing had tears welling up in her eyes and almost fell out. Xia Junan's face was still tense, but his heart had almost melted away. He felt like he was just putting on a show. You mean, as long as you get into the top 10, you can pay back the money? Based on the ratings of The Voice of China and its impact on the market, as long as it makes it into the top 10, my fame and popularity will go up a big level, and then I won't have to worry about not making money due to lack of cooperation. Okay, I can ask for you, but I can't guarantee that Zhuan will definitely help. Xia Junnan finally agreed after her constant persuasion and helped her contact Zhuan. When Luo Yuqing heard the affirmative answer, she was grateful, but she felt that she should not continue to disturb the other party, nor was it convenient to just sit there waiting for the other party to call. Since the other party had already agreed, she quickly said goodbye and left Xia Junan's room. When she arrived in the living room, she breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that there was still some hope. As it was getting dark, Zhao Huan came hurriedly, and the two of them went out and took a taxi to the street to have dinner. Inside the corner restaurant. Yuqing, are you saying that your landlord really agrees to help? That's great. Now our hope is much greater. Zhao Huan actually didn't expect Xia Junnan to agree so quickly. He thought he would have to haggle with him a little more. But Sister Huan, what if Zhuan doesn't agree to help? Wouldn't our idea be useless? Don't worry, these two have a special relationship. Besides, Zhuan also saw your performance on stage that day, so he must be a familiar face. And since your landlord mentioned it, how can you not consider helping? Luo Yuqing thought that was right. Besides, even if it really didn't work out, she had tried her best. The rest could be left to God. After figuring it out, she started to eat peacefully. On the other side, Xia Junnan dialed Zhuan's phone number, and Zhuan's helpless voice came from the phone. My handsome boy, I was indeed quite good at music when I was young, but now I have wasted my talent and only have a false reputation left. Okay then, but brother Zhua, please do me another favor. I have already agreed to help Luo Yuqing. Since you can't write a song, I will compose a song in your name to help her. Don't let it get caught when the time comes. Xia Junnan didn't find it surprising that the other party couldn't write songs. In his opinion, no matter how good a songwriter is at writing songs, all the songs he wrote are bad. It's better not to reveal one's identity, otherwise this peaceful life will be disrupted again. What? You can write songs? Zhuan on the other end of the phone was surprised again. Chapter 18. He can actually write songs. Yeah, you didn't expect it, right? Hee, I'm an excellent student in the music department. Xia Junnan did not hide his major, so that he could cover it up better. Oh? There is such a thing? Zhuan was still a little surprised, wondering why the men he had sent out to investigate hadn't made any move until now, and hadn't even reported the situation to the other party. Okay, I've finished explaining everything. I'm going to hang up now. Xia Junnan was not surprised by the other party's surprised attitude, nor did he intend to say any more nonsense. After their previous cooperation, the two had become somewhat familiar with each other, so Xia Junnan was no longer so polite. At this time, Zhuan, who was working in Gufeng Villa, also hung up the phone and stood there in shock. Uncle Zhua, is this the call from that handsome gentleman? Standing next to him was the boy named Dudu who said I am not the god of music. His rosy face became even redder with excitement when he heard the voice on the other end of the phone. Yeah. Zhuan came back to his senses after being pulled by Dudu. Mr. Junnan asked me to cover for him. Cover? Seeing that Dudu was curious, I told him the situation, and Dudu became even more excited after hearing it. As a small music internet celebrity, Dudu has a natural sense of superiority. On Blue Star, the ability to write songs is a scarce resource and is very sought after in society. If you hear that someone can write songs, they will be very popular and can find a good job. This is also the reason why Xia Junnan was spotted by Zhang Yaoyao even though his family was not wealthy and he was still in college. Being a top student in the music department is no joke. Later, it was only because Zhang Yaoyao climbed the career ladder too fast and her ambition grew that she dumped Xia Junnan. Of course, Xia Junnan, who now has the memory of Earth, is no longer on the same level as before. So Mr. Junnan can not only write poetry but also songs. When can I meet him in person? Dudu was even more excited when he heard that Summer Junan could write songs. Little Dudu, let me correct you, the one who can write poetry is the master behind him. Zwan corrected calmly. I don't care, Uncle Zwa, I want to go see him. Don't worry, Dudu, we will definitely have a chance to meet each other. Seeing that it was useless to make a fuss, Dudu had to go find some snacks to calm his excitement. Zwan comforted Dudu, and then thought of the people he had sent out to investigate, and quickly called to inquire about the situation. As a result, the investigation was slow because the several subordinates who were investigating had taken turns to apply for leave, and the only information they obtained was that he already knew about Summer Junan's residence and that he had been a top student in the music department. As for the individual's marital and love life situation, it was not investigated because the focus was not there. Zwan pays more attention to personal privacy, so the following commands were only aimed at the factor of the master behind the scenes. As for vacations, it's not their fault. After taking charge of a series of work, Zwan paid great attention to the welfare and benefits of employees. Under normal circumstances, no matter what kind of work it is, employees should take vacations. This is also the consistent style of Zwan. After listening to this information, which is almost equal to nonsense, Zwan suppressed his anger and said to himself in his heart, I set the system, I set it. I want to work in a humane way. Summer Junan had no idea that he was being investigated, nor did he know about the situation on Zwan and the internet celebrity Dudu. When he woke up, it was the next day. After ordering takeout, he began to think in his room about what kind of song he should write for Luo Yuqing. After his income skyrocketed in the past few days, he, who is now financially independent, feels that he should care about his tenant. It is undeniable that Summer Junan actually hoped to ease the relationship with this tenant in his heart. Luo Yuqing's pleading eyes before made him feel that it would be wrong not to help this beauty. But since he wanted to help, he had to understand the situation. Since she was a singer, Summer Junan found some scattered information about Luo Yuqing through the page of China's Strongest Voice on the internet. After the recording of China's Strongest Voice, it will be promoted on platforms such as Douyin and Zhao Hongshu, and the competition will also be broadcast on major video platforms. Therefore, the popularity online is also very high, and the overall popularity of each contestant who can advance, regardless of their previous status as a star, will increase. Of course, this is still not as popular as the finals. After all, there are 20 people in the qualifying round, which is still a bit too many. In addition, a few first-line celebrities attracted most of the attention, leaving not much exposure for others. But this level is enough for an ordinary netizen to understand the singer he follows. Summer Junan opened some reports about Luo Yuqing, and found that they were almost the same as what Luo Yuqing had told him before. He originally thought that the other party was exaggerating in order to beg him for favors, but now it seems that the reality is even more serious. She was deliberately hidden and framed by the company, and the most ridiculous thing was that she actually saw a rumor that she rejected Liu Dalong's support. When Summer Junan saw the name Liu Dalong, he felt it looked very familiar. After thinking about it carefully, he remembered that this was the financial sponsor who supported his ex-wife Zhang Yaoyao. I was originally skeptical about all the news about Luo Yuqing, but when I saw this guy's name, I immediately believed most of it. Just look at the way Zhang Yaoyao tries to curry favor with the financial sponsor, which is in stark contrast to Luo Yuqing. At least Luo Yuqing is targeting a handsome guy like him if she wants to have a further relationship with him. So I'm not a materialistic woman. Thinking of how the other party approached me at the beginning, I feel a little smug now. After all, I am more attractive. I was originally just planning to help Luo Yuqing casually, but now I have to help her seriously. Sitting at the desk and turning on the computer, an idea suddenly flashed through my mind, and an ancient-style song that was once very popular on the earth appeared in my mind. Water Melody, by Sushar of the Song Dynasty. This poem was adapted into a singable ancient song on earth and became popular for more than 20 years. It is truly shocking to hear the former singer sing this masterpiece with his ethereal voice, especially on this blue planet where poetry and culture are scarce. After writing the lyrics and music, I went to check out the results of the Huoxia.com poetry contest. The two poems I had submitted before were still as popular as ever and still dominated the charts. Time passed quickly and dusk soon arrived. Luo Yuqing had a good day and Zhao Huan went out to buy new clothes and go shopping to see if there was anything they wanted to buy. He just happened to come back at this time. To their great surprise, Summer Junan was actually waiting for them in the living room and had already prepared the meal. That's right, Summer Junan felt like he hadn't tea cooked for a long time. He was a bit tired of eating takeout these days, so he couldn't help but cook a table for himself. What are you doing? You cooked your own meal? Luo Yuqing asked in disbelief. Yes. It's just right that you two are back, let's eat together. Summer Junan was not shy and invited her generously. But what about our agreement? Luo Yuqing was a little uncomfortable with the other party's friendly attitude and didn't know how to respond. Then the agreement is temporarily void. Don't worry about it. Don't you want the song written by Zwan? Let's talk while we eat. What? The song is already there in less than a day. Luo Yuqing didn't expect it to be so fast. Yuqing, it should be so soon. The finals will start in 1 day. Although Zhao Huan was also surprised, he still reminded her. Yes, we need to make time to practice. Luo Yuqing reacted and quickly sat down with Zhao Huan. Well, can we check out some songs before we start eating? No problem. Summer Junan readily opened the laptop beside him and opened the document for them to review. Song of Water Melody. This poem. Oh my god. Zhao Huan was the first to scream in surprise. Chapter 19 Delicious Home Cooking. Let's eat first, and then we'll talk about the details after dinner. Summer Junan said calmly, thinking that he had to stay steady at this time and not lose control. But there is a lot of inner drama. Har, how about it, isn't it awesome? Luo Yuqing found it incredible to see that such a poem had also been made into a song. Yes, Sister Huan, let's eat first. Luo Yuqing closed the laptop and put it aside at the right time. At the same time, she felt relieved. It seemed that the other party had really asked Mr. Zwan for help. But Luo Yuqing inexplicably felt a trace of doubt in her heart. Even if Mr. Zwan was once a literary genius, he had not published any new works for many years. Could it really be him who produced such a famous poem in such a short time? Yuqing, eat quickly. I can't wait to hear you sing this song. Zhao Huan didn't care about his image and quickly picked up the chopsticks on the table and put the food into his mouth. It didn't matter what she ate, it was surprisingly delicious. What she put into her mouth happened to be a piece of braised pork. It was fatty but not greasy, and the taste that melted in the mouth made her want to take a few more pieces. Handsome landlord, I didn't expect your dishes are so delicious. Zhao Huan, who loves food, excitedly ate a few more bites. Her swollen eyelids became more prominent because she was smiling so happily, and her eyes were narrowed into slits. Because he was a little fat, the flesh on his face trembled slightly. But perhaps it was because Luo Yuqing had been with her for a long time, and under the tremendous pressure of life, she was not so disgusted to see Zhao Huan like this, and even felt a little relieved when she heard her laughter. Har, if you like it, eat more. When Summer Junan saw Luo Yuqing calling her sister Huan before, she followed suit. From Summer Junan's perspective, no matter what, the agent Zhao Huan wanted to sign him as an artist when he first met him. This is also a disguised form of favor, although he did not appreciate it. Apart from his appearance, I still have some good feelings towards this agent. The two of them ate opposite him. In the obvious contrast between one fat and one thin, one beautiful and one ugly, Luo Yuqing, who already looked like a fairy, looked even more beautiful. Summer Junan couldn't help but stare in amazement. I'm done eating, Sister Huan, please eat slowly. Although the food was delicious, Luo Yuqing didn't eat too much in order to maintain her weight. Yuqing, I'm almost there too, har. Seeing that Luo Yuqing had finished eating, Zhao Huan felt embarrassed to speed up. After all, Summer Junan was beside them. Soon Summer Junan finished his meal, but Zhao Huan was still a little unsatisfied and looked at the empty plates and bowls on the table reluctantly. That handsome landlord, if there is a chance in the future, I can ask you to teach me cooking skills. The more Zhao Huan looked at Summer Junan, the more he liked him. He thought to himself, who cares what his orientation is? Such a handsome guy is willing to help Yuqing and can cook. His cooking skills are comparable to those of a famous chef. After a few interactions, it seems that there will be a chance for me to make him my own artist in the future. This requires finding an excuse to further improve the relationship. Although Luo Yuqing was lucky enough to ask the other party for help this time, it is hard to say what will happen in the future. Zhao Huan thought that with Luo Yuqing's charming appearance and extremely conservative mindset, she couldn't do without the help of an old hand like her. Har har, sure, Sister Juan, if you're interested, you can always come and spar with me. Everyone praised the delicious food he cooked highly and looked drooling over it, so Summer Junan had no choice but to agree readily. In fact, I was not so happy about it. Imagining myself and Sister Juan exchanging cooking skills in the kitchen, the picture seemed full of a sense of incongruity. He subconsciously imagined the scene of him and Luo Yangqing discussing cooking skills in the kitchen, which was very beautiful. After a moment, Summer Junan reacted and shook his head violently to clear his mind and stop thinking too much. I'll clean up the dishes, you guys go tune into this ancient-style song first. Zhao Wan was not shy at all and took the initiative to clean up the dishes. Thank you very much, Sister Juan. It just so happened that Summer Junan didn't like washing dishes very much, and since the other party had generously offered it, he gladly accepted it. Luo Yuqing stood up and picked up her only instrument, the electric guitar. She looked at the music sheet Summer Junan gave her and began to play while trying to sing. This electric guitar has been with Luo Yuqing for a long time, and she has been carrying it with her since her debut. Although the material is ordinary and a bit old, Luo Yuqing, who has always been short of money, does not have any spare money to buy a new one. As Luo Yuqing's snow-white and slender jade fingers played the melody, her gentle and ethereal voice sang along with the lyrics. After all, the sound of the electric guitar is still a bit modern, and the performance sound is not that perfect. Zhao Wan was extremely excited to hear such a moving melody. Even though the electric guitar accompaniment was a little imperfect, it did not hinder the undecorated and somewhat flawed original rhythm. Summer Junan finally heard the long-lost water melody, and was filled with emotion. The familiar melody and familiar feeling reminded him of his days on Earth. Luo Yuqing tried singing several times, and Summer Junan helped her correct some inaccurate notes in time. After the audition, Zhao Wan and Luo Yangqing were still immersed in this ancient-style song. They kept reviewing the pitch and what else could be performed more perfectly. Time passed by unknowingly. It's such a pity. We don't have extra money to buy more instruments for accompaniment. I'm afraid the effect won't be their best during the competition. Zhao Wan began to worry about the accompaniment sound and instruments at this time. For singers, the instruments in their hands are their weapons on the battlefield. If their weapons are not handy or are old, it will always affect their performance. Sister Juan, it's okay. I'll just use my electric guitar. Even with a simple accompaniment, this song is enough to overwhelm the others. Luo Yuqing is full of confidence this time. Summer Junan, thank you for helping me this time. I have a request. After writing a song for her this time, Luo Yuqing's attitude became much more polite and respectful. What request? Summer Junan asked curiously. I hope that after the China's Strongest Voice competition, I can invite Mr. Zhu to dinner to thank him in person. I didn't expect that he would readily agree to my request when I was in such a difficult time, even though we had never met before, and he was able to turn this famous poem into a song so quickly to help me. Also, I plan to give half of the money I earn from this song to Mr. Zhu. Luo Yuqing made the proposal. She really felt that she had received a great favor from others. Even out of basic courtesy, she had to express her gratitude. It was also reasonable to share the money when the time came. What's more, this song aroused her curiosity even more. She wondered whether he was one of the two top poets in the poetry competition. Zhao Wan on the side also nodded repeatedly. After all, she had only seen Mr. Zhuan from a distance twice before, and she was also very curious. Who wouldn't want to meet such a rare genius? She was very lucky that Luo Yuqing happened to rent Summer Junan's house. Knowing Summer Junan was like a natural advantage for them. Oh, okay, I'll pass your suggestion on to him. Although Summer Junan was a little surprised by such a suggestion, he thought it was reasonable. Regardless of whether the competition was successful or not, this kind of original song would definitely be a timely help. Besides, it's not difficult for me to talk to Zhuan about the situation, and he just needs to cooperate. As for the money, it's better not to refuse it, so that the other party will feel it is more normal. Seeing that they had almost finished talking and were about to go back to their rooms, Summer Junan and Luo Yuqing, who were sitting opposite each other on the sofa, stood up at the same time. Are you? Sorry. Neither of them paid much attention, and the moment they stood up, they were too close, less than a centimeter apart, and the breath of each other hit their faces. I'll go back to my room first. Luo Yuqing's face flushed as she reacted first, and she hurriedly returned to her room with her electric guitar. Chapter 20 Beauty's Thoughts. Luo Yuqing returned to the room and fell into deep thought. The close distance just now made her feel excited, but then she started to regret why she was like this. She knew that the other party was already a sister, and yet she still lost her composure like this. It was just that the landlord was one of those rare people who had a bookish air and at the same time was masculine, which once again deepened his dislike for Zhang Yao Yao. If it weren't for her, everything would have been normal. Then I felt conflicted again. Why was I thinking about all these things? I must be crazy. Zhao Wan had also noticed something wrong in the living room, so he hurried into Luo Yuqing's room. Yuqing, Yuqing. Zhao Wan stepped forward and pushed her, who was still in a daze. What's wrong with Sister Huan? Luo Yuqing, who was sitting on the edge of the bed, looked at Zhao Wan, who pushed her in a daze. What's the matter, Yuqing? You are not interested in this handsome landlord, are you? Sister Huan, why are you asking that? How could I possibly ask that? We've only known each other for a few days. Besides, he's an unemployed vagrant who's been supported by the left bank boss. He may not like women, but you never said you don't like men. Alas, I didn't expect that after all the calculations, as long as you want, the people chasing you can line up from here to abroad. Why would you like someone like this? Zhao Wan raised his eyebrows and said helplessly. Sister Huan, you're really overthinking it. How do you know that I'm interested in her? Luo Yuqing felt a little impatient when the other party guessed her so bluntly. Just now, you two were so close to each other, and you were blushing and embarrassed. Go back to your room quickly. Why are you so nervous? Sister Huan, this is normal. It's awkward to be so close to someone you don't know. This quick reaction is very common. Okay, in that case just pretend I didn't say anything. Seeing that the other party refused to admit it, Zhao Wan didn't want to continue asking. After all, there was still a lot of work to prepare, and he would have to cooperate with Summer Junan in the future. Seeing that Luo Yuqing was having a little trouble now, it didn't affect anything. Summer Junan in the other room didn't have so many thoughts. Standing up from the sofa and having close contact with the beautiful woman was just a small advantage for him, nothing more. Now he has more important things to do, which is to open the homepage of the Huoxia.com poetry contest and leave a message to the fans and anti-fans on both sides. That's right, because the two poems by Junnan and Li Mama have already sparked a war of words on the internet. He decided to make peace between the two sides. Although the black and red are also red, he is the red one anyway. The main purpose is to reduce the hostility of netizens on both sides. After all, poetry is for appreciation. Now that he has no worries about money, he has to balance the war of words. In fact, he only found out about the black fans when he checked WeChat just now and saw the message sent by Zwen. The popularity situation is mainly monitored by Zwen. He usually doesn't want to bother to protect the fans. He clicked on the unread messages on both sides, and their webpage showed 999 plus unread messages. Poems like Viewing the Mountain express feelings about one's country and one's lofty aspirations through the scenery, which cannot be compared with the artistic conception of the moon shining before my bed. The netizen above is too biased. How can homesickness be compared? You have no family, you only have ambitions. That's right. You can't even take care of your own family, and you still have ambitions. You just want to make a fortune for yourself, right? The two sides continued to engage in a war of words. I looked at the popularity again. If I hadn't looked at it, I would have had no idea. It was really scary when I looked at it. Both poems had over 100 million hits. I even saw scholars working in the education industry proposing to include these two poems in textbooks, but the war of words between the two sides discouraged these educators from doing so. Summer Junan quickly spoke using their respective accounts, and each expressed their appreciation for the other's poems. Whether it was using the scenery to convey the feelings of family and country or using the moonlight to miss home, they were all good poems. Both parties even said that the two feelings could complement each other. Summer Junan has left a message, and the comment section has exploded again. Look, the two big guys are actually speaking one after the other. Oh my god, have the two bosses communicated with each other? These two famous poems may have similar ideas to the two great men who wrote them. What the above person said is right. What is this called? Well, great minds think alike. Both bosses have spoken, what else do we as fans have to fight for? No, we still have to distinguish the superior and the inferior. Xia Junnan saw that although the situation had improved, it still could not completely eliminate the activity of black fans. In addition, because there were too many people commenting, the network was paralyzed, so he quickly logged off. I thought to myself, who cares if he has black fans or not? These people don't know who the real person is anyway. I can just have some peace and quiet and still get commission from the traffic, so it won't have any impact at all. The organizer of the poetry contest, Zwan, was also delighted. The poetry world, which had been in a slump for many years, not only ushered in new vitality, but he also made a lot of money and was praised again and again by the old guys in Goofenviller. The money saved in these few days is enough to re-establish a literary society. In the past, due to the downturn in the literary world, the literary society that had been running in Huaxia for many years could no longer continue and had to be disbanded. Now, new hope has been ushered in. Xia Junnan just turned off the computer and slapped his head, and then he remembered that Luo Yuqing wanted to invite Zwan to dinner. I muttered to myself that I had to contact Zwan immediately to let him know, lest I forget about this little thing after a good night's sleep and get caught. Hello, brother Zwa, I want to tell you something. Xia Junnan explained the situation over the phone. What? How can this be possible? What if something goes wrong? Zwan was very panicked. Mr. Junnan, at least I need to know what this song is. So, send me the song and I'll try to memorize it so that I can use it to make up for it during dinner. That's no problem. I'll send it to you right after you hang up. Xia Junnan felt that since they were already partners and they needed to help each other, he naturally didn't mind showing it to the other party. When Zwan heard this, he was so excited that he immediately hung up the phone. As the WeChat notification sounded, he couldn't wait to connect to the computer and open the folder inside. His pupils trembled when he saw the contents, and his black-framed glasses almost fell off with excitement. How is this possible? This is another masterpiece that will be passed down through the ages. And, I even made a song. Just as Zhao Huan had said before, Zwan was also a talented teenager in his early years and was proficient in music. He looked at the musical score and began to hum along with the rhythm. He was even more shocked after singing it. He had never heard such a beautiful song in his life. It was also the first time he knew that pure poetry could be made into a song. On Blue Star, the so-called ancient-style songs are all adapted with some modern annotations. No one will actually sing with the words of the poem itself because it is too difficult. The excited Zwan couldn't help but call Xia Junnan again. Hello, brother Zwa, what's the matter? Why are you calling again? At this time, Xia Junnan was lying on the bed and browsing Douyin. He was watching a wonderful clip and was a little impatient when the phone suddenly came in. Mr. Junnan, I just want to ask you, which master wrote this water melody song? When Xia Junnan heard this, he suddenly remembered something and sat up from the bed. Oops, how could I have forgotten about this? Chapter 21, The Poet in the Dream Again. Well, brother Zwa, this was written by a great poet named Susha, and it appeared in my dream again. Xia Junnan quickly adjusted his emotions and said calmly. He remembered being questioned by that group of literary giants in Goofenviller a few days ago. It could be seen that Zwan was also interested in the so-called master behind the scenes. He had forgotten about this before, but it didn't matter. Anyway, what he said about these poets were real, but people in this world just didn't know it. Although it's a bit troublesome, this is the only explanation. So, Mr. Junnan, how many masters are behind you? This is the third one, why don't you tell me the whole story first? Zwan felt that this could not have been written by a single poet. With Xia Junnan's speed in producing poems, it was very likely that he had come into contact with a mysterious team of super-powered poets. Although the people sent by Zwan to investigate were on leave, they were his capable assistants selected over the years. They were absolutely extraordinary in personnel background investigation. In fact, there was no one they could not investigate as long as they were in China. However, they could not find any clues about this mysterious master behind the scenes. Under normal circumstances, even if the investigation cannot find out who the specific culprit is, there should be a clue. The result is a blank. Either these masters are too powerful, or Xia Junnan is lying. But since he was able to write such a famous poem, he would not lie. It is impossible that Xia Junnan did it all by himself, unless he is not human. Not to mention that he wrote it alone. Even the idea of a group of poets that came to Zwan's mind was too absurd, but the facts were before him and he couldn't give any further explanation. Xia Junnan on the other end of the phone had no choice but to reluctantly start explaining. There is no such thing as a team of poets. I just dream, and there are many poets in my dreams, including the two poems before. Although what brothers was said is a bit bizarre, what I said is indeed true, and there is no need to lie to you. Okay, since you said that, I won't ask anymore. Xuan said helplessly, muttering to himself that this person would never tell the truth. There was really no other way. He might as well investigate behind the scenes, the truth would eventually come out. By the way, brothers Wu, there's also the matter of Luo Yuqing's share of the money. If this song becomes popular, don't refuse her money. This should be more normal. Xia Junnan added on the key issue. Okay, that's no problem. Xuan has never refused money, no matter what the reason. Who would complain about having too much money? Besides, this is a reasonable situation for the sake of face, and he can't let others get suspicious. He can just give it to Xia Junnan secretly when the time comes. It's getting late, brothers Wu, I'm going to sleep first. Okay, good night. Good night. The two finally finished talking and hung up the phone. Xia Junnan saw that it was already late at night, so he went to bed quickly. He couldn't stay up late these days. He had to take good care of his health, otherwise how could he enjoy the money he earned now? Time soon arrived at the day of the finals of China's Got Talent, and Xia Junnan was still invited by Xuan to the VIP audience seats, but the difference this time was that Xia Junnan informed Luo Yuqing and Zhao Wan in advance, because after all, he was secretly writing songs for her, and now he could be considered a semi-partner, although in Luo Yuqing and Zhao Wan's eyes he was just a messenger. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon that day, Luo Yuqing and Zhao Wan packed up and took their things to go out. After all, this is not the rematch like before, where we had to arrive early because there were so many people. Now there are only 20 people, and they are all very professional players, so the rehearsal part is also waived. Normally, this kind of operation would be disadvantageous for those who manage to get to the bottom by luck, but Luo Yuqing felt much more confident after singing Song of Water Melody. She and Zhao Wan both felt that there would be no problem making it into the top 10 this time. Although the top 3 can be exempted from the penalty, they are still small-time unknown actors after all, so they dare not even think about it. Xia Junnan also dressed neatly and prepared to go out. Originally, Xuan had agreed to send a car to pick him up, but because the driver had something urgent to do and couldn't come, they had to notify him temporarily and let him go to the Voice of China. They agreed to meet at the VIP seat. Xuan was busy with some daily work for the poetry competition, so he could only arrive before the competition started. It was for this reason that Xia Junnan decided to go to the scene early to prevent chaos when other audience members entered the venue. This was the experience he gained when he helped Zhang Yaoyao hold a concert. Handsome landlord, since we are going to the same place, why don't we go together? Zhao Wan invited. Is it appropriate? Xia Junnan was surprised that they asked him to join them. It's suitable. What's wrong with it? Let's take a taxi together. It's more convenient. Okay then, let's go. Xia Junnan did not refuse, and the three of them took a taxi together. Zhao Wan naturally sat in the passenger seat, and Xia Junnan and Luo Yuqing had to sit side by side in the back of the car. Luo Yuqing didn't expect Zhao Wan to sit in the front first. She and Xia Junnan felt a little unnatural sitting side by side in the back. It might be because of the sudden close contact that day, or maybe it was because Zhao Wan asked her in the room about her liking Xia Junnan. In short, it was not natural to see each other. Because it was far from the city, the taxi would take some time to drive. In order to avoid embarrassment, Luo Yuqing turned to look out the window. Xia Junnan didn't feel anything unusual. He just thought that she was getting enough rest to deal with the game in the evening. Before, they hadn't talked about anything else except talking about things. So Xia Junnan lowered his head and started playing with his mobile phone. However, after opening Douyin and watching only a few videos, he saw many knowledge influencers recommending Viewing the Mountain and Quiet Night Thoughts in his poetry competition. In order to avoid the two girls in the car noticing that he was watching, he turned the volume of his mobile phone to the minimum. In fact, Luo Yuqing didn't pay attention to what he was browsing, but Xia Junnan himself always felt guilty. In this way, as the two of them were thinking about their own things, the car finally drove to the door of the China Voice building in the city center. The sun was scorching and the contestants arrived here at about the same time. Most of them wrapped themselves tightly with parasols and sun protective clothing for fear of getting tanned. Except for the top 5 finalists who were first-line stars and walked through the VIP channel specially prepared for them, which was invisible to others, everyone else walked through the main entrance. However, other stars with a little fame would also arm themselves and try to avoid being noticed. After all, everyone has a fan base. Who knows? Some fans might know through rumors that they are coming at this time and come to follow them and take pictures. Luo Yuqing didn't take any measures. She got out of the car in a white t-shirt and blue denim shorts. She just wore a black mask. Zhao Wan had emphasized that she should wear it before, otherwise she wouldn't even remember to wear it. Firstly, her skin was too fair to require sunscreen, and she found it too troublesome to carry those things. Secondly, she was just an 18th tier celebrity and no one knew her. Even if she had managed to gain some attention before, she didn't think anyone would recognize her at the scene. After getting off the car, the three of them walked side by side towards the gate, but at this moment they met someone they didn't want to see. Chapter 22. Entering the audience seats in advance. Liu Dalong, who was wearing casual clothes, got out of the Cadillac not far from the gate, opened a pink parasol and held it high. Zhang Yao Yao, who was wearing a dark purple cheongsam and sunglasses, got out of the car. It was obvious that Liu Dalong was holding the umbrella for Zhang Yao Yao. Dalong, it's too hot today. If it weren't for going on stage, I wouldn't wear such a long cheongsam. Zhang Yao Yao's voice is not loud, but she still attracts the attention of people around her. Although she is a third-tier star, she is still familiar to many people. In addition, it is an open secret in the circle that she is supported by the financial sponsor Liu Dalong. This kind of thing is not uncommon in the entertainment industry, and Zhang Yao Yao did this deliberately to attract everyone's attention. Zhang Yao Yao would love to have more exposure, whether it is positive or negative news. Honey, let's go in quickly. Liu Dalong quickly took her hand and led her forward. Summer Junan and the other two who had just entered the gate saw the two people behind them, looked at each other, and tacitly quickened their pace to walk inside, but they couldn't resist the fast pace of others and inevitably bumped into them. Zhang Yao Yao was a little surprised to see the three of them coming together from behind, but she didn't want to miss such an opportunity to attack Luo Yuqing. There were a lot of other contestants and staff members combined, and everyone loved to watch the show, so she had to stop them and humiliate them. Although she also saw the ex-husband who was with her, her target was not him. However, it was not impossible to ask the ex-husband to do her one more favor and throw dirty water in public, saying that they were living together. She believed that she could let those present spread the gossip. Even if it didn't cause any big waves, it would at least annoy Luo Yuqing. Hey, isn't this Luo Yuqing? Wait for me, Zhang Yao Yao shouted loudly and quickly stepped forward to catch up with them. Oh? Is it that Luo Yuqing again? Liu Dalong was also stunned when he saw the figure in front of him. Yao Yao, don't walk so fast. I can't keep up with you. Liu Dalong is a bit old after all, and he doesn't exercise regularly. So when Zhang Yao Yao walks faster, he can't keep up with her. Dalong, you don't have to accompany me while I go change my clothes. You can just go directly to the audience seats when the official recording starts. Zhang Yao Yao wanted to get rid of Liu Dalong at this moment, so she had to slow down and send him away. Okay, I'll go directly to the front row of the audience to watch your performance. Liu Dalong didn't want to see Luo Yuqing in the presence of Zhang Yao Yao. He was afraid that Luo Yuqing would say something to Zhang Yao Yao about him, so he took the opportunity to back off and left first. In any case, when the semi-finals ended, Liu Dalong had stopped Luo Yuqing alone outside. It would not be good if he was exposed on the spot with so many people here. When Luo Yuqing in front heard the voice calling her so enthusiastically, she knew that something bad was going to happen. She exchanged a look with Zhao Wan and Summer Junan beside her, and the three of them once again tacitly quickened their pace. Fortunately, they heard that Zhang Yao Yao was delayed by Liu Dalong for a while, so they walked further and distanced themselves from Zhang Yao Yao. The final started earlier this time, and there was no rehearsal, just to increase the difficulty and add to the highlights. This time the final will not only be voted by the audience on site, but will also be broadcast live online. In the past, several professional judges would give the scores, but this time the program team gave the choice to the audience. They found that above all professionalism, it is mainly the millions of audiences that dominate. No matter how professional the song is, it will lose its meaning if no one listens to it. Therefore, the judges this time only play an auxiliary role in professional comments, which can be used as a reference, but not as the final result. The final result is very simple, with popularity ranking first. Whoever gets the highest number of votes from the internet and the live audience will win. Where are they? Yes, in the dressing room. She has to go to change clothes. Humph, she is playing deaf and dumb. She even pretended not to hear me calling them. Zhang Yaoyao stomped her feet and walked towards the dressing room. At this time, Summer Junan hurriedly walked towards the audience seats, but the more he feared, the more it came to pass. After separating from Luo Yuqing and Zhao Huan, just as he was about to walk out of the audience seats, he bumped into Zhang Yaoyao, who was going to the locker room on a red walkway. Summer Junan, why are you here? Zhang Yaoyao looked at the person in front of her and found that he had separated from the two people in such a short while. Zhang Yaoyao, why can't I be here? You were clearly with Luo Yuqing just now. So, we just came here together. Now I have to go to the audience seats. Please get out of the way. Summer Junan saw that he couldn't avoid the head-on collision, so he had to reply coldly. After that, he turned around and walked forward, not wanting to look at Zhang Yaoyao's face for a moment. Summer Junan, Luo Yuqing has already told me about you. You have changed so much after our divorce, but you still can't forget me, Zhang Yaoyao said to him confidently behind him. You think too much. Goodbye. Summer Junan heard what the person behind him said without turning his head. There was no emotion in his voice, just like he was talking to a stranger. After that, he continued to walk forward. Leaving behind was Zhang Yaoyao with a deflated expression on her face. Summer Junan thought that Zhang Yaoyao was talking about the situation where he had been staying in the large flat since his divorce, and she might have felt that he was decadent and lying down. What he was curious about was that Zhang Yaoyao and Luo Yangqing were competitors. From what Zhang Yaoyao said, he already knew that Luo Yuqing was his tenant and lived in the same house. Why didn't Zhang Yaoyao, who has always been sensitive about relationships between men and women, directly ask him about his relationship with Luo Yangqing? Summer Junan came to the VIP audience seats. At this time, other audience members had not arrived yet. There were only some staff members scattered in the front row. He seemed a little conspicuous to be sitting in the audience seats so early, but he didn't care. He picked up his mobile phone and started to connect to the wireless network and play Douyin. On the other side, Zhang Yaoyao saw that Summer Junan completely ignored her, so she turned around and went to the locker room to find Luo Yuqing. Luo Yuqing. Zhang Yaoyao came to the locker room and saw Luo Yuqing, who had changed her clothes again. Sister Yaoyao, is there something you want to ask me? Oh, it's okay. Didn't you hear me calling you when you entered the door just now? Zhang Yaoyao suddenly didn't know what to say. Her original plan was ruined. It seemed that there was nothing to say, so she had to ask the other party why he didn't hear her voice. Did Sister Yaoyao call me just now? The two of them had already quarreled on the day of the semi-finals, but seeing Zhang Yaoyao calling her like that in public, Luo Yuqing responded politely. Oh, maybe I didn't hear any sound because I was wearing headphones when I came here. Luo Yuqing started to play dumb. It's okay. I'm just curious and asked how the ancient-style song you prepared for the finals went. Zhang Yaoyao looked at the 14 contestants in the locker room and suddenly asked. Not surprisingly, there are 5 top-tier stars who will not be in such an open locker room. She felt that if she stimulated the others with words before the competition, she would have the upper hand in terms of morale. Even in this kind of singing competition, mentality is also very important. Don't worry about this, Sister Yaoyao. I'm already prepared. Luo Yuqing replied politely. Ready? I'm afraid you just made up some song yourself. Zhang Yaoyao. No matter what song this is, you'll know it during the competition later. Luo Yuqing saw that the other party was deliberately provoking her and became impolite. Chapter 23 The Voice of China Finals. Luo Yuqing felt that Zhang Yaoyao was a shameless woman. She had already given in, but Zhang Yaoyao still came to provoke her. The address instantly changed from calling someone sister to calling them by name directly. In the circle, anyone who has a higher status than oneself, regardless of age, will be called sister for women and brother for men. So even though Zhao Huan, who used to be a low-level agent, is much older than Zhang Yaoyao, he still has to call her sister. But Zhao Huan, who had rich social experience, was able to lower his head and bend his waist without showing any dissatisfaction. But Luo Yuqing is young after all, has strong principles, and is not good at pretending. Luo Yuqing, you are awesome. Stop pretending so soon. But you should know the level of my current resources. I found a top creative team in the industry to tailor this original song for me. Last time you relied on your cleverness to get to the bottom of the list, but this time it's different and you're still cannon fodder. Zhang Yao Yao continued to verbally attack, but she felt that what she said was right and that was the fact. Zhang Yao Yao, don't be so sure. It's not a foregone conclusion until the result comes out. Okay, then I'll wait and see the result. After saying these harsh words, Zhang Yao Yao turned around and called the makeup artist to go to a makeup mirror away from everyone to put on makeup. Because of Liu Dailung's relationship, she was already assigned the best makeup artist. The others, especially the bottom 5 contestants in the semi-finals, do not have makeup artists and have to do their own makeup. Although the finals have not started yet, the production team will also treat each contestant differently based on their performance. Those who are obviously not competitive will not be given any special treatment. The other people in the locker room saw the two of them quarreling again and couldn't help but whisper. Hey, didn't they have a fight last time? Yes, it seems to be because of the feud with the previous sponsor named Liu Dalong. I heard from insiders that the original sponsor had his eyes on Luo Yuqing, but Luo Yuqing disagreed, so he found Zhang Yao Yao. That's right. The sponsor is not a fan. They don't look at the celebrity status or traffic, they mainly look at beauty. Even an 18th tier star can be promoted. But it's too late for Luo Yuqing to regret now. She missed out on the financial sponsor and made an enemy of Zhang Yao Yao, who is not easy to mess with, because of this matter. Yeah, it's over for her this time. I guess she'll have to change careers after participating in this season of The Voice of China. Beauty is always short-lived, so being pretty is not enough. The main thing is that there are already many beautiful people in our circle. Even if she is prettier, she cannot be our core competitiveness. No wonder she is not afraid of offending Zhang Yao Yao. A barefoot person is not afraid of a person wearing shoes. This is like throwing away a broken jar. Anyway, she is already in debt, so she doesn't have to worry about it. Zhao Wan helped Luo Yuqing with her makeup. When they heard the noise, they pretended not to hear it. Since things had developed to this point, it was normal for others to gossip. They just had to do their best and have a clear conscience. After everyone had packed up, it was almost time for the show to start, and the auditorium outside was full of people. The order of performance is based on the ranking in the previous semi-finals, which means that Luo Yuqing, as the 20th place, will be the last one to perform. There were still 3,000 spectators at the scene, and everyone was still there to see the top-tier celebrities. The popularity of Luo Yuqing's fall had decreased a lot by then. If you say that there were people who wanted to see Luo Yuqing sing, you can say there were not many. Compared with the appeal of big stars, it is still nothing. The Voice of China is committed to becoming a top program group and a first-line celebrity, which can be said to be a mutual achievement. In the entertainment industry, there have been many negative voices against traffic stars in recent years. The Voice of China can undoubtedly prove that it is at least a powerful singer. As their host finished his warm-up speech, the competition officially began. The scene was also connected to the internet for broadcast in time. The first to take the stage is Xu Qingmai, a big star in Chinese costume dramas. Having dominated the costume drama screen for 5 years, she has already become a top-tier celebrity. In order to better fit the theme, she wore a green ancient-style long skirt and a simple bun on her head, making her look like an immortal. Under the backdrop of stage lights and musical instruments, he picked up the microphone and sang his own original song. Xu Qingmai debuted as a singer and has decent creative ability, so although she hired an assistant for her new song, she also wrote some of it herself. I have to say that the atmosphere was very well created and the audience was very excited. The audience was holding up signs and waving glow sticks in support of Xu Qingmai. Come on, Qingmai. The green plum goddess is the best. I am a My fan. At the end of the song, the number of votes given by the audience and netizens was not surprisingly high, but it also seemed reasonable, and not much different from the previous popularity, so it can only be said that the status quo is maintained. The second one is the veteran star Cheng Yu. He is nearly 40 years old and has produced many popular songs. This new song was also written for his fans. After he came on stage, unlike the young Xu Qingmai, his songs were full of an obvious sense of vicissitudes, attracting a bunch of older fans to vote for him. Cheng Yu's status is still relatively stable, and his fans are very loyal after years of baptism. He knew that his song was not as eye-catching as Xu Qingmei's, and he participated only to give benefits to old fans, without a strong desire to win. The third is a variety show star named Bai Ji, who is in her early 20s. She is a favored daughter of a prominent family. Because of her good looks, she insisted on entering the entertainment industry despite her family's opposition. With the help of her family, she quickly became famous overnight. She has a hot temper and is always quick to argue with people. The song she prepared for the final was a song that was tailor-made for her by someone at home. Although it was also an ancient-style song, it was a fast song. With neat short hair and wearing a black punk-style skirt, she was passionate when she went on stage to sing, which made the audience excited. Her family background made her confident. She was a character who had to go back and inherit the family property if she didn't want to stay in the entertainment industry. Because he is very relaxed and good at stirring up the audience's emotions, his vote count is not much different from the previous two. The audience soon began to discuss the matter. It's really an ultimate visual and auditory feast to see these three on stage. It seems like the performances of these three big names are equally matched. Could it be that the top three today are these three? It's very likely, but there are still two big names who haven't appeared yet. There are 20 people competing, but why do the other 15 seem to be just running for the sake of it? There's nothing we can do. The gap in strength and status is too big. The next two first-line stars became famous by doing live streaming and selling goods on Douyin. They don't really care about this competition. They are not originally from the singing field, and they participate in it just to attract attention, so their singing is just average. As long as there are no obvious errors, it can still increase popularity. The performance was just mediocre, with decent votes but not as good as the first three. In any case, it is difficult for complete outsiders to write an original work, whether they hire someone else to write it or write it themselves. The huge fan base does not make them look so bad, and they can look passable on the surface. Time passed quickly, and the next contestant's singing became even more ordinary. However, because this competition involved first-line stars, the huge gap in status made the others have no objections. It's natural for first-tier stars to perform outstandingly, and it's normal for those third-tier, fourth-tier, seventh-tier, eighth-tier, or even 18th-tier celebrities to perform mediocrely. After a while, it was finally Zhang Yaoyao's turn to go on stage. Chapter 24, Water Melody Song Head Explodes. Zhang Yaoyao walked slowly onto the stage with enchanting steps. The dark purple cheongsam fit her graceful figure tightly, making her look more mature and charming. With the accompaniment of a charming sound system, she sang a song tailor-made for her. The main theme is a seductive and alluring one. The audience and netizens felt a little embarrassed. This time, she also used her good looks and mature and charming voice to attract a lot of attention. She is originally a third-tier star with a certain degree of fame. In the entertainment industry, which generally tends to favor pure types, her glamorous type does have some competitiveness. Although it is a bit greasy, it is fine from an eye-catching perspective. Zhang Yaoyao was singing while watching the audience's reactions. She knew that her performance was also quite outstanding. I thought to myself that although there was no chance of making the top 3, there would be no problem getting into the top 10. While she was performing an immersive singing performance on the stage, Summer Junan in the audience had been sleeping soundly in his seat for a long time, and was snoring because he was not sleeping comfortably. In fact, in his opinion, the songs sung by the first-line celebrities were really boring and nothing special. Zuan on the side couldn't help it and pushed Summer Junan. After all, there were countless cameras on the scene and it was inevitable that they would be scanned when filming the audience. After all, they were sitting in the more conspicuous VIP seats. Hey, wake up, don't sleep anymore, Luo Yuqing will be here soon. Zuan found an excuse and pushed Summer Junan with his elbow. Are we there yet? No, isn't it Zhang Yaoyao who is still on the stage? She hasn't finished singing yet. Summer Junan was sleepy and obviously had not yet recovered. Isn't he this coming soon? Brother Zua, I didn't realize you were still this kind of person, and you still lied to me. Mr. Junan, this has a bad influence. After all, we are guests invited by the program team, so we should at least give them some face. Zuan hurriedly explained. The careless Zuan did not notice the flash of disgust in Zhang Yaoyao's eyes in the stands of Summer Junan. Okay, I'm awake anyway. It should be Luo Yuqing's turn soon. This contestant has been lined up at the back. Summer Junan was not simply dragged by Zuan to watch the fun this time, He was very excited that Luo Yuqing was going to sing Song of Water Melody in such an occasion. It's been more than 20 years. I can finally hear the long-lost songs again. Xia Junnan sighed in his heart. As the music on the stage ended, Zhang Yaoyao finally finished singing and walked off the stage. Fortunately, she was not standing next to Luo Yuqing this time. Luo Yuqing was also very grateful, otherwise Zhang Yaoyao would have to make things difficult for her secretly. So after a few more people went on stage to sing, it was finally Luo Yuqing's turn. Because it was the last contestant, the host came on stage to give guidance and encouragement. Okay, now let's invite our last contestant today, Ms. Luo Yuqing, to come on stage and sing her original song, Water Melody. Shui Tiao Ji Chu. I've never seen a song named like this before, it's so special. The audience began to talk again. This young lady is pretty, but her main attraction in the last round was her unexpected fall and her outward performance. Yeah, I've heard the song before, the sound is pretty good, but the content is really nothing special. Shui Tiao Ji Chu, this name doesn't sound very lyrical. It is indeed beautiful but soulless. What's the point of having a soul when you're this beautiful? How can a person be without flaws? I wish I had this kind of beauty on my face. It's a pity that such a beauty is destined to be eliminated tonight. An ordinary-looking female audience member in the audience refuted and showed an envious expression. If Luo Yuqing has actively rejected many wealthy men, then the female audience member who expressed her feelings does not necessarily have to throw herself at them, no wonder she is envious. After the host finished his introduction and left the stage, Luo Yuqing, wearing a white t-shirt and blue shorts, began to perform with the old electric guitar she had always used. Luo Yuqing's long black hair was casually draped behind her and her makeup was fresh and elegant. This simple outfit formed a sharp contrast with the other contestants. Sometimes extreme simplicity can also bring out the ultimate beauty, but many other people dress too gorgeously, and their makeup and clothes cover up their original appearance. The more Luo Yuqing is like this, the more it highlights her natural beauty, which is a natural beauty that cannot be touched by any modern high technology. When she was communicating with the on-site lighting and sound teachers, she asked them to play the prelude and then coordinate randomly. As the melodious accompaniment flute sounded, Luo Yuqing also used her slender fingers to pluck her electric guitar and quickly got into the mood. When will the bright moon appear? I raise my cup to ask the sky. I don't know what year it is in the palace of heaven. As soon as this sweet voice came out, all the audience fell silent. At the same time, a large number of netizens flocked to the live broadcast of the most powerful voice on the internet. What is going on? Poetry. It was sung without any translation. And it was a new poem. Then a very rare phenomenon occurred. 3,000 audience members and netizens all stared at Luo Yuqing, who was singing at the same time. Luo Yuqing then began to sing. I want to ride the wind back home, but I am afraid that the jade buildings are too cold up there. Dancing with my shadow, how can it be like being in the human world? This time there was a sudden burst of thunderous applause and countless messages with flower patterns on the live broadcast. Luo Yuqing was born with a good voice, but she had never been given the right songs to sing and she never stood out. But as soon as this song came out, Luo Yuqing on the stage radiated brilliant light. Everyone also heard that this was a poem describing the reunion of people and the moon. In addition, Luo Yuqing's melodious voice really touches everyone's heart. Especially the line in the song, "It's lonely at the top," made many audience members and netizens sigh and fall into deep thought. Why do we live a mediocre life every day, and why are there so many intrigues in the workplace? No matter how high you climb to, you still have lost your original intention. There are also many fans who have some money who have realized something. Isn't it lonely for your idol to be at the top? Maybe sometimes you should be rational in chasing idols. Cheng Yu, Xu Qingmai and Bai Ji, who were still at the scene, were even more shocked when they heard such a song. They are already top stars, busy taking on various jobs every day. When have they ever thought about stopping to think about themselves and see themselves clearly? It is true that when you reach this height, you will feel a bit lonely. Is it really meaningful to keep going up? Luo Yuqing suddenly turned and began to sing the second half. Turning around the red pavilion, lowering the beautiful window, shining on the sleepless. There should be no hatred. Why does the moon always appear when we are parting? People have joys and sorrows, separations and reunions, the moon waxes and wanes, it is impossible to have everything in life. I wish you a long life, and we can enjoy the beauty of the moon together even though we are thousands of miles apart. The audience went wild, emotions exploded. It turns out that "It's Lonely at the Top" is a message to encourage everyone to be together with their loved ones. Yes, family is the most important thing. People have joys and sorrows, separations and reunions, the moon waxes and wanes. It is impossible to have everything in life. Not only is the poem itself profound, it has also been made into such an attractive song. It can also provide people with more guidance in life direction and spiritual help. This is simply not something that can be expressed by the word good. It is a unique phenomenon that such a famous poem throughout the ages is sung. Everyone except Summer Junan was going crazy with excitement. After the song was finished, Luo Yuqing was so immersed in it that she didn't pay much attention to the audience's reaction. After she finished singing and adjusted her state, she found that something was wrong with the scene. Chapter 25 People's Discussion. There was constant cheering from the audience, and the atmosphere was soaring, far surpassing the enthusiasm of other contestants on the stage. Even for the 5 first-line stars in front, the audience was not so excited. The first stanza is already shocking, but I didn't expect the second stanza to be even more classic. Many viewers who are familiar with poetry quickly discovered that this song should strictly be called a CI song, not a poem in the traditional sense. In the civilization of Blue Star, poetry is the main form of writing, and lyrics rarely appear. Being able to write poetry is already a leader in the literary world, and being able to write lyrics is even rarer. At this moment, from Luo Yuqing's perspective, everyone became abnormal, crying and laughing. After she finished singing, she bowed to the audience and walked off the stage. The staff, the host and the judges on the scene were all immersed in the song. For a while, there was no host on the stage to warm up the audience for a long time. Everyone was immersed in their own feelings and discussions. From afar, Zhuan in the audience was also shocked by the performance. This made Luo Yuqing, who had returned to the contestant waiting area, feel strange again. For the real original creator, there should not be any big surprise. On the contrary, Summer Junan on the left bank seemed very calm. "Hey, didn't I send you this song before? Why are you so surprised?" Summer Junan, who was sitting in the VIP seat, was speechless about Zhuan's reaction. He thought that this person's shock point was too low, as this was not the first time he knew the content. "I have seen it before, but it is different from hearing it live now. Especially when Miss Luo Yuqing sings it, it is so vivid. She is so suitable for this song. With top beauty and top song, it seems that your girlfriend, female friend, will become very popular after today." Zhuan speculated that he thought she might be the champion tonight. This song was unprecedented and no one else could compare to her, even the top singers on Blue Star could catch up. "It's just a song, I didn't expect you guys to be so excited. I thought it would cause a big stir, but I didn't expect it to be this big." Summer Junan directly opened his mobile phone to check the situation online. Dozens of platforms linked to China's Strongest Voice had poor signals due to the crowded crowds in the live broadcast of China's Strongest Voice, and the platform programs were paralyzed. "It seems that I still underestimated everyone's love for poetry," Summer Junan said slowly, touching his chin with his right hand. After a while, the host finally reacted and hurried to the stage to give the closing remarks. He also announced that the votes would be counted on the spot and the ranking results would be announced in 10 minutes. After Luo Yuqing's performance, everyone thought that the top 3 must be selected from the top-tier celebrities, but now Luo Yuqing has become the biggest variable. Everyone can see that the song she sang is far beyond the level of other professional singers. No, it should be said that it is far beyond the level of all predecessors. In the backstage waiting area, 20 contestants are waiting together for the final voting results. Zhang Yaoyao looked like a frost-bitten eggplant and her face looked extremely ugly after listening to Luo Yuqing's singing. She worked hard and used various connections to finally come up with a pretty good original song. She didn't expect that Luo Yuqing, who has always had mediocre singing skills, could sing such an amazing song this time. "Luo Yuqing, I really didn't expect you to have such a backup plan. I don't know where you found this expert." Zhang Yaoyao muttered to herself in a seat far away from Luo Yuqing. Based on Zhang Yaoyao's understanding of Luo Yuqing, she knew that she had no resources, no connections, no background, and was also too proud to play by the rules. She really couldn't understand what kind of expert would help her like this. On the other side, Xu Qingmai, Bai Ji and Cheng Yu were also sitting together and whispering. "Who do you think will be the champion this time?" Bai Ji raised her eyebrows and spoke first. I think the champion this time should be Luo Yuqing, Xu Qingmai said directly. She has always been known as the goddess of ancient costume. Her temperament is relatively gentle, and her personality has always been fairy-like. She is a very proud person. She has always been confident in herself both in appearance and in character. Until today, when she saw Luo Yuqing, who is naturally extremely pure and charming, with a natural beauty, she understood that she became an 18th-tier celebrity only because she had no resources. If the judges announce that she is the champion today, I will accept it, said Xu Qingmai. Yes, it seems that today's song Water Melody has really surprised everyone, but... Cheng Yu said in a puzzled tone. But what? Bai Ji asked quickly. In fact, I am more curious about who actually wrote this poem and turned it into a song. A young girl in her early 20s, who has always been an 18th-tier celebrity, which means that her songs before were not very good. I don't believe that she suddenly had a burst of inspiration overnight. After all, Cheng Yu has been in the entertainment industry for many years. Older people tend to have more comprehensive and rational ideas, so he still expressed his doubts. Brother Cheng Yu is right. Hearing that makes me even more curious. But after this reminder, I already have a suspect. Xu Qingmai raised her eyelids and said, "Oh? Sister Qingmai, so you also have someone to suspect." Bai Ji widened her eyes in disbelief when she heard it. In fact, it is not difficult to lock the scope. Think about it, why did China's strongest voice temporarily change the theme of the song? Xu Qingmai immediately asked the question. It's because of the poetry competition that's been popular recently, Bai Ji responded immediately. That's right, it's the poetry competition. Strictly speaking, it's not the competition that's popular, but the two authors of Viewing the Mountain and Quiet Night Thoughts. After all, Xu Qingmai is a goddess in ancient costume, and she is very interested in literature and poetry. You mean? Cheng Yu reacted immediately. Yes, I suspect these two authors. Yes, in today's literary world, no one else can produce poems of the same level. Except for the two mysterious authors, Jun Nan and Li Mamar. These three are worthy of being first-tier celebrities. Whether because of their strength or family background, their knowledge is on the same level. When others are still immersed in poetry, they have already begun to analyze the author behind it. I have an idea. Bai Ji's eyes turned and a simple plan formed in her mind. What do you think? What do you think? Xu Qingmai and Cheng Yu asked curiously at the same time. After this competition, I want to make friends with Luo Yuqing. If you two are willing, you can go together, Bai Ji expressed her thoughts. I know what you're thinking. The main target is not Luo Yuqing, but the master behind the scenes. I'm willing to join in. Cheng Yu expressed his opinion first. I am willing to do that. Although I have a lot of announcements recently, I can turn them down first. If I can get to know such a master and ask for his advice, it will be worth more than any film contract announcements. The three of them reached a consensus and then dispersed and sat down. Seeing that the voting results were out, the host took the results to the stage and began to announce them. Chapter 26, Not the Champion. Sorry to have kept you waiting for a long time. After the latest round of online and offline vote counting, the 10th place winner of this Got Talent Finals is Ms. Zhang Yao Yao. The final ranking will be reported starting from the 10th place. There will be basically no development for those ranked behind, so they will not be reported. Everyone can check it for themselves. This is why Luo Yuqing wanted to be in the top 10 at the beginning. It will be of great benefit to her future development. But this ranking was not what Zhang Yao Yao thought. Although this ranking was good and enough for her to operate in the future, it was far from her expectations. If it had happened before, it would have been enough for her to show off in front of Luo Yuqing, but Luo Yuqing's unexpected performance made her feel uneasy. What? I worked so hard to only make it into the top 10. Zhang Yao Yao glanced at Liu Dalong in the audience and silently prayed to herself that Luo Yuqing shouldn't rank too high. Zhao Huan, who was beside Luo Yuqing, became more confident and felt that she might be able to win first place this time. The sensational effect was not to be underestimated. Yuqing, I think you might be the champion today. Zhao Huan was already smiling happily in the audience. Sister Huan, don't be too confident. Although I have been blessed with poetry, I may not be the champion. Luo Yuqing still didn't dare to be too sure. This did not rule out the possibility of any unexpected situation. If she could rank high, it would far exceed her expectations. She knew that it was a fair vote, but it was only relatively fair. After all, she was just an 18th-tier unknown actor who was hidden from the public. After several people ranked and registered, there were still 4 names left, but it was obvious that Luo Yuqing was not among the 5th to 9th places. Zhang Yaoyao still had a fluke mentality. What if Luo Yuqing wasn't in the top 4? It's not impossible. She kept comforting herself. As the number of people dwindled, the audience began to discuss the topic again. Oh my god, I just voted for Luo Yuqing. Me too, me too. Who else can I vote for if not her? Song of Water melody is so beautiful. There are still 4 spots left. I'm so nervous. Which place will Luo Yuqing be in? Their host came on stage again to announce the 4th place. Now I will announce the 4th place in the final of The Voice of China. He is our evergreen singer Cheng Yu. Let's give him a round of applause. The audience also responded promptly to their host on stage and burst into thunderous applause. Cheng Yu, who was sitting in the audience, was not surprised by his ranking. He was only concerned about Luo Yuqing's ranking. Now we have come to the most crucial part. We are about to announce the top 3 contestants. They need to go on stage to receive the Little Golden Man trophy specially made by our program team. Are you nervous? The host is very good at livening up the atmosphere. Nervous? The audience responded simultaneously. In fact, everyone had basically guessed the 2 people. The only variable was Luo Yuqing. Everyone held their breath. Okay, now let me announce the 3rd place winner. She is our ancient costume goddess, Xu Qingmai. As expected, there was another round of thunderous applause from the audience. But in fact, Xu Qingmei's ranking of 3rd place is still a bit low, because the 2nd place will most likely be Bai Ji. Compared with the 2, Xu Qingmei actually has more comprehensive elements. After all, this is partly because Bai Ji has a strong background. At this moment, Xu Qingmei was just like Cheng Yu. She was not surprised about her ranking, but just wanted to know whether Luo Yuqing would win the championship. Please invite Ms. Xu Qingmei to come on stage to receive the award. When she heard the host calling her, she walked towards the stage calmly, holding up her skirt. Ms. Xu Qingmei, do you have anything to say to everyone at this moment? Thank you for your continued support. I am very happy that you are still willing to support and affirm me in the field of singing. Thank you everyone. Xu Qingmei just said a few words and then left the stage because she was anxious to know the top 2. Now the most likely top 2 candidates are only Bai Ji and Luo Yuqing, and the audience held their breath. Summer Junan in the VIP audience also became a little nervous. Even though it caused such a big sensation, no one was really sure about the final ranking. Next, I have the names of 2 more contestants in my hand. How about we ask the audience and netizens for their opinions? Should we announce the 1st place or the 2nd place first? The host knew the focus of today's final and temporarily gave the choice to the audience. Announce the 1st place first. Yes, we need to know who is the champion first. Announcement of the champions. The winner of China's Got Talent this time is. The host deliberately started to keep the audience in suspense. The audience suddenly fell silent, took a deep breath, and watched this extremely tense moment. The 1st place winner is our Miss Bai Ji. Everyone was stunned the moment the host announced the name. How could it be her? What? How could this be? There must be something fishy going on. She definitely won't be the champion today. Where's the fairness promised by the Voice of China? Please recheck the audience voting results. Yeah, we don't accept it. The audience was angry. Bai Ji herself was also confused. Ever since she heard Luo Yuqing's song, she never thought that she could be ranked in the top 3. Although she was a first-line star and was good in all aspects of her business, she knew clearly that her songs could not compare with Luo Yuqing's. Now, please invite our champion to come up on stage to receive the award and give a personal speech. Out of professional ethics, the host maintained a polite smile and ignored the reactions of the audience. She was just announcing the results, and she was actually surprised when she got the list. Bai Ji walked onto the stage somewhat depressed, took the championship trophy from the host, and after a moment she came up with a plan. Please let Ms. Bai Ji give her acceptance speech. At this moment, the host's words seemed somewhat routine. Since you asked me to give a speech to express my gratitude for the award, may I make a request to their host? Bai Ji said this so suddenly that the host was stunned for a moment. I want the host to announce who the 2nd place winner is right now. I want to receive the award and take photos with the second place winner on the stage. Oh, okay, I will announce the second place now. Their host, who had reacted, naturally did not dare to leave the audience in a daze, and quickly started announcing in response to the other party's request. Our second place contestant is today's dark horse singer, our Miss Luo Yuqing. The audience sighed, it was Luo Yuqing, they were not wrong. On the other hand, there was also a lot of support online, saying that Luo Yuqing should be the first place. On the other hand, everyone started to support Bai Heiji, saying that she got the first place because of her strong background and connections, because her songs were not that eye-catching. In fact, under normal circumstances, there wouldn't be so many people who like Baiji. Although Baiji has a carefree personality and a hot temper, she has participated in many variety shows and is a righteous person, so she is very popular with the public. Under normal circumstances, even if she was the champion, the audience would just accept her performance. But who would have thought that Luo Yuqing would be singing such a special song? Okay, now I sincerely invite Miss Luo Yuqing to come on stage. I have something to say. Their host had no choice but to invite Luo Yuqing to go on stage together. Luo Yuqing was a little confused. Although this was the result, it was unexpected but reasonable. After all, she was just an 18th tier unknown star, and she was already flattered to get second place. Chapter 27. No one wants the first place. Luo Yuqing felt that Baiji was very thoughtful. Since she was asked to go on stage, she went to see what the other party said. She did not refuse and walked onto the stage confidently. Summer Junan, who was in the audience, couldn't help but sigh in his heart when he saw this scene. It turned out that no matter what planet you are on, no matter when and where, background, relationships and connections are an important part that cannot be ignored. He looked at the public voting data of various platforms on his mobile phone. It was obvious that Luo Yuqing's votes were far ahead of Baiji. However, the program team ranked other people fairly, but gave different treatment to Baiji. Brothers Wu, what is the background of Baiji? It's not easy for her to make the voice of China break the rules. Summer Junan knew about this star because of Zhang Yaoyao, but he never paid attention to her. Mr. Junan, you may not pay attention to this normally. This Miss Baiji is a super rich second generation. Her family spent a lot of money to get her into the entertainment industry. The production team dare not offend her. I see. But it doesn't matter now that Luo Yuqing is not the champion. She has become famous after tonight. Summer Junan understood that in the face of absolute popularity and strength, the so-called relationship would pale in comparison. Speaking of the two contestants standing side by side on the stage, Baiji looked at Luo Yuqing, who was walking up. Suddenly, for the first time, she felt a little inferior about her appearance. Luo Yuqing looked even more beautiful from a close distance. There were no pores visible on her snow-white skin. Baiji had always thought that she was pretty enough, but in front of her, she looked too ordinary. Luo Yuqing didn't notice the other party's gaze and excitedly picked up the microphone on the stage. As for my acceptance speech, I would like to say thank you all for your support. I never thought I would be able to get to this point today. I am really happy to get this ranking this time. And Miss Baiji suggested that we go on stage together. Do you have any special ideas to say? Luo Yuqing calmed down her excitement and turned to Baiji beside her with a smile. She didn't think Baiji would deliberately make things difficult for her. She was a gifted girl and had won first place. She would probably just suggest taking a photo together or something. Well, it's like this. As for the first prize today, I don't know why the program team gave it to me. I feel unworthy of this first prize. I hope to give this award to Miss Luo Yuqing. Baiji said very sincerely. In fact, Baiji already had an idea in her mind that this first place must be the result of the manipulation of her rich father. She thought that she would have to talk to her father about this matter when she got back for not telling her in advance. Her suggestion was not a big deal, as it confused the program crew and the audience. This was the first time someone took the initiative to give up the first place. I've never seen this before. The whole audience was in an uproar, and even the haters online were at a loss as to what to do with them. Their host really didn't know what to do, so he could only leave the director's place at the fastest speed and quickly go on stage after the director's whispered signal. Okay, since Miss Baiji has such an idea, why not ask Miss Luo Yuqing what she thinks? Their host came on stage, calmed down his mood and restored his professionalism and said calmly, but in fact, his heart was in turmoil, thinking that this was truly a rare sight that only happens once in a century. In my panic, I even forgot the question I was going to ask about the original creator behind the work. Thank you very much, Miss Baiji. However, it doesn't matter whether I get first place or not. The ranking is not very important. What matters is participation. I am already very satisfied with this result today. Luo Yuqing didn't mind how the other party got the first place. She actually thought the same as Summer Junan, that this ancient-style song had already become a hit. Although she came in second place, she is probably number one in everyone's heart. Her fame has risen, and after tonight she will no longer be an unknown figure on the 18th line. More importantly, she completed the impossible task given to her by Huanrui Entertainment at the time. As long as she made it into the top 3, she could be exempted from the sky-high penalty fee and she would be free from then on. Now she is the second place, which is considered to have exceeded the task. It doesn't matter whether she is the first place or not. In any case, she will never be short of money in the future. What? Now it was Baiji's turn to be dumbfounded. She didn't expect the other party to respond like this. Shouldn't she be grateful and accept the first place trophy? The whole scene was quiet again. Everyone didn't know how to react. The reversals kept happening one after another. First, this kind of once-in-a-century song appeared in the previous competition, then the song that should have won first place became second, and then the first place winner had to give up the first place, and now the second place doesn't want it. Cyber trolls and haters didn't know how to react, and the internet suddenly fell silent. In this case, I won't worry about the first place. I will apply to the program team to demote me to second place. After all, I am probably not the first place in everyone's mind. Baiji's action made people confused. She was telling the truth publicly. Is this okay? Leela, the program director, was dumbfounded. This young lady's family had already arranged everything for her. Would this be considered offending her father? He began to wonder. In Leela's opinion, the contestants from the 2nd to the 20th place were all in fair competition, it was just that the first place was a little unreliable. It was nothing in the first place, but now that Miss Bai has made a fuss, what should he do? No matter what, I won't admit that I won the first place today. After saying that, he winked at Luo Yuqing playfully and walked off the stage. Well, today I am tied for second place with Miss Baiji. How about we keep the first place for now? Luo Yuqing made a suggestion on the stage. Seeing that it was like this, the program crew decided not to go back and forth. Since neither party wanted it, the program crew would not force it. Okay, it's up to Miss Luo Yuqing and Miss Baiji. The first position will be reserved for now. After receiving a signal from the chief director, the host quickly finished his closing remarks and announced the end of the entire program. Otherwise, it would take days and nights to finish talking like this, so it would be better to end the show first. Seeing this answer, Luo Yuqing bowed deeply to the audience again and walked off the stage, but she still heard many screams from the audience. Many of the audience had become her fans. This episode of China's Strongest Voice also came to an end. After the show, Summer Junan called Luo Yuqing and waited for her and Zhao Huan outside the gate to leave together. Xuan left first because he had an appointment in the evening. After packing up in the locker room, Luo Yuqing put on her electric guitar and prepared to leave with Zhao Huan when Baiji, Xu Qingmai and Cheng Yu stopped them. What are you doing? Luo Yuqing thought, now that Zhang Yaoyao is gone, how come 3 more are here, and they are big stars? It would be a great thing for ordinary people if these first-line stars approached her actively, but in her opinion, good things would not come easily. Ms. Yuqing, don't get me wrong. Well, the 3 of us don't have any bad intentions. We just want to invite you out for dinner some other day. When are you free? Cheng Yu spoke first. Eat? Why would you invite me to eat? Luo Yuqing had experienced the ups and downs of life, and knew that especially for a celebrity like her, she would definitely come to him for no reason. Putting down so much work, inviting her to eat. There was something wrong. Okay, let's just talk it out. Baiji was quick to react. She could see that the other party was very wary of them. We just want to know who wrote this water melody for you. So that's how it is. Luo Yuqing breathed a sigh of relief when she heard it. To tell you the truth, I haven't met the author of this song yet. The 3 of them opened their mouths into an O shape in surprise at the same time. Chapter 28 Being caught by a popular star. Before tonight's Got Talent final, Bai Ji, Xu Qingmai and Cheng Yu had no doubt that the world was normal. No matter how outrageous things happened in society, everything was within a reasonable range. But what was happening at this moment was completely beyond the comprehension of the three of them. What do you mean you haven't met the author of this song yet? How did you get this song? When the three heard this, they became even more curious and stared at Luo Yuqing, who was about to leave like sticky candy. At this time, their cell phones kept receiving text messages. After all, they were first-line stars and their agents were waiting anxiously outside and had to communicate with them about their next itinerary arrangements. The three of them looked at their phones and directly hung up the calls that kept coming in, looking a little annoyed. Three of you, I was lucky enough to get this work by chance. I have never met the original author directly. As for who the author is, I am sorry that I cannot reveal it without his consent. Seeing that the three people were unwilling to give up, Luo Yuqing could only reply like this for now. Well, you three, I see you are all very busy. It's getting late, and our Yuqing has to go back and rest. Zhao Wan also tried to smooth things over. Then Miss Yuqing, if you have time, the three of us would like to treat you to a meal. Bai Ji asked again shamelessly. Well, Miss Yuqing, we just want to be friends with you. Promise not to ask about the song, Xu Qingmai explained. Although this was still very deliberate, she had to try again. Well, okay, but you have to wait until I'm free. Then please contact my agent to arrange a time. Luo Yuqing was also speechless. She used to think that these first-line stars were high and mighty and out of her reach, but she didn't expect that they would be so shameless as to want to make friends with her now. Okay, then we won't bother you anymore. The three of us will leave first. The three of them gestured goodbye at the same time and left. Luo Yuqing and Zhao Wan also walked from the locker room to the outer hall. It was already dark outside the door, and the evening breeze was very cool. Xie Junan, who was waiting, put on a large black mask to cover most of his face. He sat on a public chair beside the gate, leisurely playing with his mobile phone. Originally, he wanted to leave as soon as the show was over like before, but then he thought it would be fine to go back so early. Besides, they were in the same house anyway, so he didn't have to go back first and Luo Yuqing would have to go back and open the door twice. The password door would consume an extra bar of electricity. Look how far-fetched this excuse is. In fact, in Xie Junan's heart, his relationship with Luo Yuqing has improved a lot because of the Song of Water melody incident. In his heart, Luo Yuqing is already a friend. He wore a mask because he was afraid that Zhang Yaoyao would notice him when she came out. He really didn't want to meet her again. Soon Luo Yuqing and Zhao Wan came out. Xie Junan, let's go. Hearing their voice, Xie Junan stood up and was about to go get a taxi with the two of them, but Zhao Wan's phone suddenly rang. It turned out that her child suddenly had a fever at night. Zhao Wan was very anxious, so she said hello to Xie Junan and Luo Yuqing and hurried home. Sister Wan, don't panic, everything will be fine. Be careful on the road. Luo Yuqing waved worriedly to Zhao Wan, who got on the taxi first. She and Xie Junan prepared to stop another car. Fortunately, the Voice of China competition is over. Sister Wan doesn't have to live with me every day. This way, it will be more convenient for her. Yes, I hope Sister Wan's child will recover soon. Didn't Sister Wan say before that she wanted to ask me for cooking lessons? I have to teach her now, Xie Junan also sighed. Luo Yuqing looked at him and suddenly realized the current situation. Doesn't that mean she and Xie Junan will live alone again? What's wrong with you? Why are you looking at me? Xie Junan saw Luo Yuqing suddenly looking at him in a daze. Oh, no, I just saw that the mask you wore was the same as the one I wore when I came here, har har. Luo Yuqing felt a little embarrassed at the thought of living alone. Her long flowing hair was blown a little messy by the evening breeze. Because they were sitting quite close to each other, the few strands of hair that were flying in the air touched Xie Junan's shoulders. Luo Yuqing's face turned slightly red as she looked at her hair in the dark, but Xie Junan didn't notice it at all. He was just concentrating on watching the taxis passing by on the street to see which one he could get. Fortunately at this time, Bai Ji and the other two came out and saw the two of them getting a taxi. Hey, Miss Yuqing, where are you going? How about I give you a ride? Bai Ji saw that this was an opportunity and she had to show off. No need, Sister Bai Ji. There are plenty of taxis and we'll get one soon. Luo Yuqing became alert. It was obvious that he wanted to know where she lived now. Oh, okay. That won't bother you. I'll be leaving first. Bai Ji said goodbye politely and slowly walked towards the parking lot, while secretly winking at Xu Qingmai. Next, Xu Qingmai asked a sensitive question directly: who is this handsome guy? Oh, well, I'm his assistant, Xia Junnan answered first. Oh, is that so? Miss Yuqing, I'll leave first then. Xu Qingmai called Cheng Yu, who was silent beside her, and walked towards the parking lot. Under normal circumstances, the three of them would be picked up by an RV, but they were afraid of being surrounded by fans for this event, so they took the VIP channel in a low-key manner. The reason why they walked through their main gate at night was because they knew that there would be no fans or spectators there so late at night. On the other hand, he wanted to bump into Luo Yuqing again at the door to see if she knew anyone. After the three of them said goodbye, Xia Junnan also got a taxi, and the two of them got in and left for the western suburbs. In the taxi, Luo Yuqing asked in confusion, "Why did you say you were my assistant just now?" Luo Yuqing, this is a temporary measure. The three of them are all first-line stars. So if I'm the assistant, at least they won't think I have anything special to do with it. Luo Yuqing nodded repeatedly after hearing this. Yes, we still have to protect Mr. Zhu's privacy. When Xia Junnan heard this, he couldn't help but burst out laughing. What are you laughing at? Am I wrong? No, you're right. I just suddenly thought of some irrelevant and funny things. Xia Junnan thought to himself, brothers will really looks impressive in the eyes of outsiders. Luo Yuqing was thinking that Xia Junnan's thinking was indeed a little abnormal. What they didn't notice was that there was an RV secretly following them behind the taxi. Master, drive faster. Don't lose the taxi in front. The speaker was Bai Ji, and next to her were Xu Qingmai and Cheng Yu. After the three of them went to the parking lot, they discussed with their respective agents and used an RV together. They must make some progress on Luo Yuqing's situation tonight.